Here we go.
Thursday, October the 9th. It's Thursday night football and quarterback charting with old Frankie. But before we get started on the quarterback charting and the Eagles and the Giants and everything else, we always like to start with the Frankie from Flatbush. For you.
Frankie from Flatbush rides the Brooklyn line. Got a swagger sharp like a vintage wine. Everybody knows his name from porch to stoop. Hustling dreams in every loop. In the park he starts, hits the handball wall. Echoes hear the stories when the shadows fall. Got 1,000 tales and a confident grin. On the streets of Flatbush where legends begin. Frankie from Flatbush got the city glow, lighting up the borough with his every show. He's the heart of Brooklyn, never laying low. Frankie from Flatbush, always on the go. Bodega lights flicker when Frankie's near. He's got the rhythm, everybody cheers. Corner talks and sidewalk chalks his fame. In the Flatbush breeze you'll hear his name. Underneath the subway on the magic's real. Frankie's moves got that electric feel. From Atlantic Avenue to the urban hill. Flatbush Frankie's giving you a thrill. Frankie from Flatbush got the city glow, lighting up the borough with his every show. He's the heart of Brooklyn, never laying low. Frankie from Flatbush, always on the go. Bodega lights flicker when Frankie's near, lighting up the borough with his every show. He's the heart of Brooklyn, never laying low. Frankie from Flatbush, always on the go. Frankie from Flatbush got the city glow, lighting up the borough with his every show. He's the heart of Brooklyn, never laying low. Frankie from Flatbush, always on the go. Always on the go. Always on the go. Always on the go.
Microphone check, microphone check. Let me know if you guys can hear me in the chat. Tony Lexio's here and seems as usual to be obsessed with men's packages. The Dart package, the DeVito package. If there's a man out there, Alexio wants to know about his package. That's what we got going on. But microphone check. Let me know how it sounds out there. Looks okay to me. But let me know if you guys can hear me okay on the mic. You never know. With these settings, let me know if you can hear me out there. Yeah. Let me know. We're starting on Thursday night football. We're going to do our quarterback charting. We got Jaxson Dart. We got Jalen Hurts. So we'll keep track of them tonight as we watch the Eagles and the Giants. Of course, two teams in very different circumstances. The Giants are looking to see if Jaxson Dart is going to be their franchise QB. And, of course, the Eagles are Super Bowl contenders, trying to go back to the Super Bowl once again. So they are in their Super Bowl window with a stacked roster. And the Giants are just trying to get back to respectability and see if Jaxson Dart is the man. The rookie quarterback playing pretty good so far. One good game, one not so good game. Immense, as you would expect from a rookie. So we'll have to see how that plays out. We shall see. But nonetheless, we will continue on here. And we'll try to keep track of the news as well, see if there's any breaking Jet news. We can discuss the Jets. We can discuss quarterback charting. We can discuss what's going on in the game, of course. We can discuss all sorts of topics. And, of course, at halftime, FSPN will become KFRANK, and we'll play the music that Frankie likes. And so we'll see if anybody likes that music other than Frankie. But we'll have to see. We shall see. Of course, the story around the Eagles is that A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith are not getting enough targets and enough love from the quarterback, and they're just running the ball too much, and so forth and so on. So we'll have to see how that plays out. And then the Giants, of course, have the story of Skittle-de-Doo Scatty-Boo, and everybody seems to love the Scatty-Boo man. So they got that going on, and the ferocious defensive line. I mean, if you want to see a defensive line, check out the Giants. That's what it's supposed to look like, as opposed to what the Jets are putting out there, where you have one or two good players and the rest, no bueno. The Giants come at you in waves, and that's just the way it is. So we'll have to see about that. Right now, Dart is warming up as we speak. And this game is being played at Giant Stadium, MetLife Stadium, what used to be called Giant Stadium back in the day. And, so they'll have to contend with the turf and all of that. Once the game gets going here in about 8 or 9 minutes or so. And until then, we can talk about whatever the chat would like to talk about as well. So I'm just going to check some of the audio. Yeah, this seems to be working okay. So that should be good. And I'll also bring up this stuff here. So we are going to take a look at Jaxson Dart. So we need to create that here. It'll be good to focus on the rookies throwing. Of course, that's what we use the grading chart for. We don't grade all of the things that a quarterback does. We know that the quarterback does many, many things other than throwing, but we focus here in the Frankie scouting department on just your throws. So that's Jaxson Dart. And that we feel like that gives us everything you really need. Jalen Hurts. Because if a quarterback is consistently making good throws, then he's probably also consistently making good reads and getting rid of the ball at an appropriate time and all of this. So I think it works out pretty good. So we got our sheet here. Okay, good. So now this is ready to go. And members of this channel, of course, get all of the tools and tricks and system documents and spreadsheets and scouting sheets, the scouting profiles and everything else. If you become a member of this channel, which you can do by clicking the join button right underneath this video or any video on the channel that you see that you like. So you can go ahead and join, and that'll gain you access to all the stuff, including exclusive videos that I do just for the members, special videos, of course. Not that the other videos aren't special, but you know, uh, certain things, membership has its privileges, as they say. Membership has its privileges. Nothing special going on, really, news wise, as we keep an eye on that. And let you know if there's any breaking news. Breaking news. Doesn't seem to be one or any really. So there's about 4.5 minutes to go to the game. They're getting down. They're counting it down over there. And so we'll see what that brings. Let me know in the chat if there's anything going on that you guys want to talk about. What's disturbing is there's these numbers that StreamYard shows me are very um, misleading because it says there's 27 people listening on X. I can tell you there's not 27 people listening on X. uh, 28. It's probably how many people look at that little pink banner. So it's very disturbing. But anyway, that's what we're doing. Let me know in the chat if there's anything you guys want to talk about. Otherwise, we'll keep an eye on this broadcast. Um, hopefully, they just go right to the game from this channel that I have on. Yeah, it seems like that's what they're doing. MetLife got some fireworks going on. Yeah, I wonder how the Giants fans really feel about MetLife. I'm sure they're not too thrilled with it either. All we ever hear from is the Jet fans about MetLife. I'm not sure how the Giant fan feels about it. I'm sure they're not too happy. But they're an actually respected franchise as opposed to the Jets, which is just a laughing stock. So we'll see. 30-3. It's looking like the latest news as far as Saturday quarterbacks, the college quarterbacks, which we're also watching very carefully because it looks like the Jets will be selecting one in the draft in the first round. The news is that John Mateer has been upgraded to probable. He had surgery on his hand and right hand, and now it looks like he's going to play maybe against Texas. It was presumed that he would miss that game. Now it looks like he will play, maybe. And so that'll be just another quarterback we got to keep our eye on for this draft and how he does this season. Seems like it wouldn't be very wise for him to try to play in this game. Just let it heal and play the next game. But, looks like he's going to try to push it. So we'll have to see about that. And any other news that comes across the wire. Doesn't seem to be much of anything. All right. So waiting for the game to begin. Got a couple of minutes to go, and then we will start broadcasting this game and charting these quarterbacks and see how they do, grade them out. Might as well on a Thursday night. What else are we going to do as Jet fans? It's really, uh, really not a lot to think about. We got our London game this week coming up on Sunday morning. So we'll be over at the Green Bean channel for that one. So no coffee with Frankie this Sunday. No coffee with Frankie this Sunday. And instead, we'll be doing, a watch along on the Green Bean channel as we normally do. And we'll see if the Jets can avoid being 0-6. I personally kind of doubt it. The Broncos have a very good defense, of course, and their offense, I guess, has been up and down. You got Bo Nix; he's been up and down, mostly down this year, but still they have a good running game. And they have Sean Payton, so seems unlikely that Aaron Glenn is going to win the chess match against Sean Payton, but you never know. You never do know. Anything can happen, and often does. All right, so now there's going to be so this game is taking place. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, what are they doing? Wait a minute. I got the wrong game. Stupid channel. They should know that I want the damn game that's on. Where is this game at? Oh, please don't tell me I don't have it on here. Oh, that's right. It's Thursday night. Wrong place. Wrong place. Got to go here. Boy, oh boy. Boy. Kick off. So that's no big deal. All right, so the Eagles start out with the ball. So that'll be Jalen Hurts that we're taking a look at first. He's got 11 personnel, hands it off to Saquon, and it's a big gainer for Saquon, 15, 17, 18 yards right off the bat. No bueno for the Gigantes. Fly, Eagles, fly. Nice little maneuver by the Saquon man. Of course, Saquon, the former Giant, so he wants to stick it to him as best he can. And they do another run. There he goes. 10, 15 yards. So they are gouging him with the run right off the bat. Saquon, a former Eagle, former high draft pick of the Giants. Of course, they chose to stick with Daniel Jones instead of paying Barkley. Barkley left, had one of the greatest seasons of all time, and won the Super Bowl. Meanwhile, Daniel Jones was cut and released and sent packing. So probably not a good choice by the Giants. But nonetheless, that's all in the past now. They got their man, Jaxson Dart. He'll be coming on later, and we'll see how he does. But Daboll and Shane are going to now rely on the rookie to save their jobs. And if he plays well enough, they'll be safe. Now you got a 2-by-2 formation spread out with one running back in the backfield, and it's a zone read, not a pass. Hurts keeps it and gets -2 yards. That's not good, Jalen. But that was a zone read. We can also take a look at how Philadelphia runs their offense. It's something that we might want to emulate to some degree in terms of the type of quarterback they have, the running game, and everything else. Alan Dodds is here. What's up, Dodester? Alan Dodds is a member of the inner circle. Let me know if you can hear me okay, Dodds, on the mic. You never know with these microphones. Third down and 10, 12:55 remaining in the first quarter. This is the first third and long that they've had, but they're already in field goal range, so no big deal. First pass of the game for Hurts is routine to the tight end. He just gets 5 yards on 3rd and 10. That's not going to do it. Mic check. Okay. All right. Good. Thanks, dudes. Appreciate that, sir. So 3rd and 10, he went to a 4-yard check down. Not high quality quarterback play on that one, but just getting 5 yards is closer for a field goal. Very conservative. Doesn't try to push the ball downfield. You do wonder if there's anything to these rumors about A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith being unhappy there. You can see why that whole drive they didn't even look to those people once. Those are two super studs, and they're not being utilized really that much. On the other hand, the Eagles are winning a lot of games, so you know. All right, so basically one throw for Hurts. We give him a routine grade on the throw, and that's it. so far. Now we'll get to see Jaxson Dart and see how the rookie does. Dode says Diva Receivers. Yeah, but don't forget, like, this is their career, right? Like, this is their life. This is their ability to make further earnings. And if they never get thrown the ball, you know, you're affecting their careers. You know, some of these, I mean, AJ Brown, they're probably both Hall of Famers, right? When it's all said and done. And you're affecting their legacy, you're affecting their potential future earnings, all because you refuse to throw the ball to them. So I kind of feel like, yeah, I'd probably be pissed too. You know. Meanwhile, somebody like Garrett Wilson gets targeted 7,000 times a game, usually. Didn't last game, but so yeah, I mean it's kind of diva-ish, but at the same time, you know, you know how it is. AJ Brown, yeah, but he's only got a certain amount of time. You think he's made lots of money? He doesn't think so. He's at a different stratosphere than you dudes. You can't compare normal people to superstar athletes, dudes. That's not a good thing to do. You know, he wants to max just like any person in life, he wants to max out his earning potential. You know, yeah, he's made a lot of money relative to us, but relative to what he could make, you know, not necessarily. So I can understand why they're concerned, but at the same time, it is a team game. He's making lots of money to play football, I guess. But also, I do think there's something to if you are a superstar, you want to prove that you're a superstar. You don't want to have games where it's like 2 catches, 15 yards when you're a superstar, you know? It's a different world, man. It's like a different, world. Imagine you were Saquon and they never handed it to you or something, Imagine you were Derrick Henry and they never did a running play, you know? So basketball is coming back for anybody who likes to watch people dribble. Basketball is, coming up. Alright, so now the Eagles are kicking off to the Gigantes, and, I think they have Ocheski, whatever his name is, running it back. Oh, and he gets it outside, is able to get to the 40 and gets a nice return out to the 45, 46-yard line. Good job by Gunner, the Gunner man. And now Jaxson Dart will come onto the field. The product of Ole Miss, originally out of Utah. So far on the season, 39 out of 60, 313 passing yards in 2 games, 3 touchdowns, total touchdowns, 2 2 ints, 2 fumbles, so 4 turnovers, 3 touchdowns. So it's been a mixed bag for Mr. Dart for sure. So he's in the shotgun now. He's got a 2-by-2 formation. Looks like 12 personnel here. Scattaboo in the backfield with him. They got a stacked line. The Eagles do. They run into the stacked line. And Scattaboo, skiddly-doo, Scattaboo gets about 3 yards. So skiddly-doo, Scattaboo is now starting as opposed to Tyrone Tracy, who used to be the starter. I believe Tracy's healthy for this game, but skiddly-doo, Scattaboo starts. And he starts with a 3-yard run. Now another 2-by-2 formation, 12 personnel again. Now puts a man in motion, shotgun, looks to the left, throws over the middle, and almost throws a pick. Jesus Christ, what are we doing? That's an interceptable. So that one looked not good. Looked like he had. Uh, this was not the guy to throw to, but it looked like did have some people to throw to, just not this guy. And it was just another bad throw. And if the linebacker could catch, that would have been another interception on Dart. So that was interceptable. All right, 3rd and 7. Now they got trips left bunch, passing strength left, flag on the play, and there's something on the Giants. So that's going to push them back. That looks like offsides, or I mean, false start. Gigantes. So now it's going to be 3rd and longer. Jalen Carter for the Eagles, inactive tonight. The great defensive tackle. The man who spit on Dak Prescott. You remember that? The opening night game. That was no good, Jalen. But now it's 3rd down and 12, so we'll see how Vic Fangio treats this one with the young quarterback. Will he send the house? Will he just play coverage? Looks like he's just gonna play coverage, but we'll see. Yeah, he just rushes 4. Dart back to throw, goes for a deep one down the oh, boy. Down the right side, it's caught, but it was not really a great throw. Now, how do you grade this throw? It was far down the field. It did not lead him. It was sort of a jump ball, and the guy jumped and caught it. These are the ones I have trouble grading. I don't know what you grade this throw. He kinda just threw it up there. Let's see. It's almost interceptable, but I'm gonna give it a great because of the distance. But, that wasn't great actually, but, I mean, how can you grade that? I just threw a jump ball. Avmo says, "Corner Canyon High School, same as Zaki Poo." Yeah, and he was smart enough to leave Utah and go to the SEC, so Todd is here. Good to see Todd. Doge says, "Rookie QBs make rookie mistakes." Yep. Alright, so here's, Dart, almost sacked again, now throws bad. So to me, this guy, boy, oh boy, I don't know. So far, it's a little shaky for me. The one play he needed, he threw up a prayer ball that could have been picked, but got lucky the guy jumped and caught it. So, we'll have to see. Uh, okay. Now it's 3rd and 8 again. We got, 1 by 2 formation. Scatterboo goes out from the backfield. Can't find anybody now running. And again, he's gonna run for a touchdown. So Giant fans will be happy about that. But we know this kid can run, but he doesn't seem to be really uh, able to find people to throw to properly. But he ran for a touchdown, so you got to give him credit for that. Good job on the running. I think really teams are going to have to realize that this kid likes to run. You need to spy him because at this point you got to kind of force him to uh, beat you with his arm. I mean, he's proven that he can run and do that well. So now I would say an extra point is good. So 7-6 Giants. At this point, I would say you got to force Dart to beat you with his arm in those 3rd and long situations, which means you probably got to spy him at this point in time. But yeah, he's definitely good at running. We know that much. Good running, good running, good running, buddy. Good running. Now we'll take a look at Jalen Hurts. We'll take a look and see if there's any news. Does not seem to be anything major going on in the news. A.J. Brown walking back to the Eagles bench. He'd gone to the locker room after the previous series. No injury announcement, so unclear why. So something's going on with A.J. Brown. I mean, that's a guy you really wonder. I mean, they're not going to trade him, right? I mean, he might want to get traded. Bialy's here. Good to see Bialy. 66. Fern is here. Good to see Fern. Good to see everybody. As we're taking a look at Thursday Night Football, charting these quarterbacks, we got Jaxson Dart. We got Jalen Hurts. And as people are reporting, it just does not seem like A.J. Brown is happy right now. And he wasn't happy in Tennessee, and then he was happy in Philadelphia, and they were winning Super Bowls and going to the Super Bowl and winning a Super Bowl. But now they're not throwing the ball his way very much, and now he's not happy again. So you wonder if they would actually trade him. It would be kind of crazy. but I don't know. Mo says, how long is Neighbors out for? He's out for the year, buddy. ACL, he's done. See you next year, bud. Done for the year. ACL. ACL 10 to 12-month recovery period. He gone. So yeah, not going to have his, favorite best receiver. But so far for me, what I've seen of Dart is good running, pretty shaky passing. So defensive coordinators are going to have to just account for his legs now a little bit more than they have been, especially on 3rd and long. They don't like to do that because they don't like to take a man out of coverage. But it seems to me you got to do that. Dode says they wouldn't trade Brown unless they got a number 1 receiver back. Yeah, that's pretty much the problem, right? They're not exactly deep at wide receiver, but they're not using them now. So what if they got a decent one back? Maybe they don't need a number 1 receiver. They're not using him, and they're still winning. So what's the point of having a number 1? Maybe if they got a draft pick and a lesser quality guy and a cheaper one, maybe that's okay. They do have Devontae Smith to be a number 1. Here's a throw to Goddard. That's a routine throw for Hurts. 2 routine passes for Hurts so far, both short passes to tight ends. I mean, they throw to tight ends. They have Devontae Smith. They have Saquon. They didn't have Saquon when they acquired A.J. Brown. And maybe, if you can get an okay one and a draft pick, maybe that's better than having a sulking Brown. But Brown is on the field now. He's wearing the hot pink cleats, as some folks do. Barkley, that's not going anywhere. So now it's going to be 3rd and long. We'll see how Hurts does this time. Now, the Giants should be the way the Giants play defense, with a ferocious front 4 and tackles for loss and all sorts of things. I mean, they got Abdul Carter. They got Sexy Dexy. They got the Spider-Man. They got all sorts of people. They got KT. They got all sorts of people on that defensive line. I mean, look at that. You got KT, Spider-Man, Sexy Dexy, Abdul Carter. I mean, this is like a murderer's row. All right, Hurts now back to pass. Looks to his left, can't find anybody. And there's the sack. It's Spider-Man. Brian Burns. Man with perhaps the longest arms in the NFL. They call him Spider-Man for a reason. Let's see if they run a stunt with Carter and Burnsy. I have a feeling they do. They do. Well, no, not really. He just beats my Lotta. That was my Lotta badness and sacks Jalen. So again, no targets for Brown or Smith, and the Giants defense comes up big. So that's one thing to think about it. That's one way to think about the Giants. If the defense can be really good with this front 4, which they should be, and hold it down, and then, Jaxson Dart plays okay, runs around, doesn't make too many mistakes and turn the ball over, maybe they could win that way. He has been turning the ball over a lot and had at least one turnover-worthy play in the first series, but the defender dropped it. Lucky on that one. But, so that's maybe what they're hoping. Run the ball, run with Dart, keep it simple for him. And hope the defense can be dominant. That's probably what they're hoping for. Yeah, let's see how many MetLife injuries happen tonight. Exactly. All right, so Dart is now in the shotgun, hands it off to Skiddly-Doo Scatty-Boo, and he gets 3 or 4. Scatty-Boo has really just been a bruiser this so far. Hasn't really been a guy to break one, really, at least so far in his career. But sometimes you just need 2-3 yards anyway. He'll get them for you. 2nd down and 6. Now we got a 2x2 formation. Dart out of the shotgun. Dart looks to the left, throws over the middle, and got a guy. So layered that one. That was a nice throw. I'm going to give him, actually, is that solid or great? I'm going to say that was a perfect second level throw. So there you go. So here's a nice one. Nice and layered. Put a little air under it. I like, this was behind him, actually. All right, so we can't give him a great throw when you're throwing behind. So we'll give him a solid. That's why we need replays. You can't tell on the first time. Yeah, his passing's been a little scattershot, to be honest. But still, had enough air under it, was further downfield, so I give him a solid on that one. Yeah, Tony, look how much they invested in on the defense. They traded for Burns. They drafted Carter. They drafted KT. They drafted Lawrence, I think, pretty sure. So yeah, they stocked up where they needed to stock up. That's what you do. You don't do what the Jets did and have nobodies. If you put a bunch of bums there, you're not going to be good. That's the way it goes. All right, now Dart can't find anybody. Now he's scrambling around, throws. Well, that's a routine throw, I would say. Man, you know what? Giant fans are going to be really confused about about Jaxson Dart. He's making some plays, and you got to applaud his moxie, but also he's getting out of the pocket. But this isn't a wonderful throw. The good thing about this play is he avoided the sack. He moved up, manipulated the pocket. They couldn't sack him, flushes out, and then just makes a routine throw, and the guy breaks a tackle and runs it all the way in. So I think that Giant fans are going to be thinking this guy's incredible. He's been okay, but he put up 14 points. That extra point is no good. He put up 13 points. Yeah. I think he's proving elusiveness, excellent. Running, excellent. Throwing, we'll see. But you got to give him the confidence. He's got the confidence. He's got the moxie. He's got that. So for a rookie, you take what you can get. Alexio says Dart is a massive upgrade over Fields. Well, we don't know that yet. I would say too that Daboll. One thing about Daboll, I think he's doing a good job of keeping it simple for Dart. And that's something the Jet coaches just don't seem to be able to do for any quarterback we have. So we'll see. I mean, no matter what, it seems like we're getting our quarterback in the first round next year, anyways. So this is just a bridge year. If Fields can do great, then great. If not, then not. Dart can follow the Jalen Hurts development model. Yeah. Well, that's what it's also the Josh Allen model. It's like be okay as a rookie, then be good as in year 2, and then be great year 3. And if he does that, he'll be just fine. Run around to yeah, right. But that's what I think. That's what I'm saying about the game plan. I think that Daboll is babying him, and he should, as he should. That's the way you should do it with these young guys. If you're going to put him in there, make it easy for him. Don't make it difficult. Don't make it rocket science. Keep it easy. And if they can't find anybody, on first or second read, just run. Just tell them it's okay to run. Run around. Fine. And build up their confidence. Dart's confidence is sky high right now. So that's good. So that's good. But it seems to me if you're going to do that, that's the way to do it. As opposed to what the Jets do is just throw everything you can at somebody and let them drown out there, basically. All right, checking out some of this here. These guys, you know who Dart reminds me of actually is Bo Nix. Like, I think Bo Nix and Jaxson Dart have similar traits in that they're like supremely confident. No matter how the game's going, they just sort of have a supreme confidence about themselves, which is really quite helpful in a quarterback. You know, that's just something inborn that you can't fake, really. You either got it or you don't. And no matter what's happening with Bo Nix, he can make 17 terrible throws. I'm going to improve that from a routine to solid, actually. You know, they could make like 17 terrible throws in a row, and then, but on the 18th, they're still confident that they're going to make that throw. You know what I'm saying? So I see a little Bo Nix in him, and we'll see Bo Nix on Sunday. I think, here's Hurts trying to go downfield. No good. Uh, they both have the athleticism. They both have that very hard to get down kind of thing going on with their athleticism. And they escape out of the pocket, and they think they can beat you. And if they'll can't beat you with their arm, they'll beat you with with their legs. And so I think now he may turn out to be better, but I think they have a similar thing going on with just how supremely confident they are. You can't really rattle them. And here's Hurts going downfield again, so I would give a great there. Back shoulder. Nice throw by Jalen on that one. So maybe he'll get into a bit of a throwing rhythm. Now they're throwing to A.J. Brown, who apparently wanted to put on bright neon orange cleats so that make sure that his quarterback knows where he is at all times. Not a bad idea. Barkley takes it for about 8 yards. 7-8. I think too, I'm really kind of worried about the plan the Jets had for Fields, to be honest with you. And I really am concerned with this idea that they think they can make him play quarterback, which is what they said all offseason. And now we're not seeing it as much zone read as you would expect. Hurts can't find anybody, looks over the middle. That guy's wide open. That was a great throw due to the distance. So, you know what I mean? Like, I would like to see one day uh, a Jets team that tailors their game plans to the quarterback skill set that they have, whatever it may be, even if it's a limited skill set. Well, Bo Nix has already had 300-yard games, so wouldn't be a career game, I don't think. But I do think he'll probably have a big game. Our defense is pretty terrible, unless something changes dramatically, which I don't know what it would be. Bialy says, I never realized Fields takes epilepsy medication. Is that true? I didn't know that either, but it'd be good if we could stop getting quarterbacks who need all sorts of medications. Zach had to take some sort of medication as well. Maybe we could get a healthy person over here. Now, I don't know much about epilepsy medication, honestly, but I mean, it's obviously medication to prevent seizures, but other than that, I don't know much about it. So it's 13-3, first and goal. The Eagles are driving. Doge says Fields does have epilepsy. All right. Admittedly, I don't know much about that. I will admit that. So Hurts now, first and goal, 13-3, 2:34 in the first quarter. They hand it off to Barkley. Spinaruzzi doesn't get very far. So let's see if the Giants can hold him to a field goal here. Second down and goal now. So the Eagles have been able to move the ball down the field in this drive here after getting stuffed in the previous one. Yeah, Have Mo says they don't seem to be scheming Fields properly. Yeah, it's what I said all summer, Have Mo, if you remember. I was saying I want them to do 25-30% zone reads. They haven't been. We've been doing some, but just not that many. I think we should do a lot more. That's his skill set. Hurts with a push pass type thing. How do you grade that pass? He did an underhand pass. He literally threw it underhand. He threw it under. He threw it underhanded. How do I grade that? Uh, I just graded it as a routine. Dode says concussions can affect epilepsy, causing more seizures, and they can be worse. That's probably why he had those symptoms like he did. He said basically he was feeling good, and then the symptoms came back like on a Monday. So maybe that's played a part in it. But again, we're not doctors here on the Frankie channel. One of the things we're not here on FSPN is a bunch of doctors. So, not going to really speculate too much about medical issues like that. I don't know much about it. So, yeah, we want everybody to be healthy and happy. Happy and healthy. JoJo's here. Philly is always creative with their offense. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think what they do a good job of is realizing what they have and sort of like tailoring the game plan to what they got. They got Jalen Hurts. He's not the greatest pocket passer in the world. So we're not going to do that much. He does make occasional nice throws, but they do the tush push. They run the ball a lot. They run a lot of zone read, et cetera, et cetera. Why wouldn't you do that? Tailor your game plan to the players that you have. Seems to me that's the way to do it. Not saying, Justin Fields, we're going to let him play quarterback. What does that mean? You're going to turn him into a pocket passer? He hasn't shown an ability to do that. And we're going to be the ones to make it happen with a defensive head coach? Oh, okay. Seems like a shaky plan. Seems a little shaky. But we'll see how it turns out. But as I have shown in some of the posts on this channel, Fields statistically is grading out pretty well by all the metrics. But of course, there's two ways to look at it. Either it's almost all that statistical stuff is in garbage time, which means you should probably disregard it. Or, the offensive line isn't good at pass pro. We don't have a second wide receiver, and Fields is still putting up these decent numbers. So maybe he's actually good if we could protect him a little better and get him a better receiving core and so forth. So there's two different ways to look at it. People are voting on a poll right now on this channel, and it seems to be about 50-50 in opinion. So I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, JoJo's Jets never cater their system to the talent they have. I don't understand this. I mean, coaches say that all the time, but how many actually do it? JoJo? It's problematic. Aunt Jets is here, one of the OGs in Jet content chat rooms. Good to see Aunt Jets here. He's got the the profile picture of Quinnen Williams being drafted. Got to wonder about old Quinnen. How tired is he of losing? Got nothing but losing going on. All right, so Jaxson Dart now is going to come back on the field, and he's played pretty well tonight. He threw up a kind of a Hail Mary pass that almost got picked, and then he had another pass that almost got picked, but then he ran around a lot and scored. Did a lot of running and then get out of the pocket. So, mensa for Jaxson Dart, but overall he put up 13 points in a quarter, so you can't really quibble with it too much. When you're putting up points, that's all that matters, especially to the fans of the team putting up the points. How do you grade pop passes? What am I supposed to grade on a pop pass? Routine? I mean, because it's almost impossible to screw it up. Well, I shouldn't say that. Some jet quarterback will probably screw up a pop pass. Yeah, agreed. Have Mo. Yeah, right, dudes. Right. All right. So now it's 2nd and 10. That little pop pass went for no gain. Now they got, looks like 12 personnel in there. Man in motion is Wandale Robinson moving left to right. Dart fakes the handoff. Now looks left. Can't find anybody. Now he's going to run once again. And is being held up. And that's going to be a sack. And he fumbled it. And the Giants got it. But I think he was down anyway. But that's going to go down as a sack. And you can see his processing is not exactly top notch at the moment. But only his 3rd game, of course. They're probably checking him out for a concussion here. Oh, no, it was moving before he came out. Somebody landed on his head. And no, seems to be okay. They kept him in the game. The red hat did not come down and take him out of the game, so I guess he's okay. Now it's going to be 3rd down and 10 as the clock winds down. Now, here's another example. Do you spy him with – doesn't look like there. Maybe number 30 is going to spy him. Campbell. Now he throws a little slant. Okay. So that's typically what you would expect. From a guy, it's 3rd down and 10, so he throws a 5-yard pass. That's a safe pass that you can complete, but is not high-level quarterback play either, but, not terrible. But in that case, he didn't run. I do think they had a spy with Campbell, I think. I believe. Hi Karate is here. What's going on, Hi Karate? Don't forget, Hi Karate, FSPN turns into KFRANK during halftime, playing the music Frankie likes. And Gangrene Gene wrote in last time, too, saying he liked the music as well that I was playing. Well, most people don't, but Gangrene Gene did, and I do. So we'll be playing some music at halftime. Don't forget. Because what else are we going to do at halftime? Sit around. Todd, I have been a fan since Richard Todd was starting for the Jets. Well, we all want wins, but it's not going to happen anytime soon, Todd. I'd hate to tell you. This season, as I've explained, Todd, we put together a very poor roster. So I'd be surprised if we are not picking in the top 3. And then we're going to take a quarterback, and then we're going to see how that quarterback does, most likely. And that's just the reality of the situation. The team always tries to win, as we always say. The team always tries to win. They're not going to try to lose. And as a fan, I don't really root for losses. I hope we do win, but the reality is the team is just not very good, especially on defense. So we'll see if they can turn it around. I mean, if the defense can play better with these people, well, then we got something with Wilkes. In fact, that's what I said. Actually, with this roster, if the defense is any good at all, then boy, oh boy, do we have a defensive coordinator. But we're like one of the worst defenses of the league. So, you could look at it like, hey, let's fire Wilkes. At the same time, we didn't give him any players. So what do we expect? Or a very thin, let's just put it this way, a very thin roster of defenders. But at the same time, it probably should be better than what we've seen. We've seen a lot of problems in the back end, which is surprising. I will say that. We've seen a lot of problems with our defensive backfield, and we did not think that would be the case with the amount of people we got. But we really didn't address the safety position properly. We just kept getting more cornerbacks, and we was like, what about safety? So it's been a bit of a nightmare, of course. So we'll see. I mean, keep rooting for wins, Todd, but just, keep your expectations low, I would say, because it's not realistic that we're going to win too much, in my opinion. So the Giants are now punting. It's now the second quarter. So they put up 13 points in the first quarter. Jaxson Dart did a bunch of running around and stuff, and, put up 2 interceptable passes. One dropped and one his receiver saved him by sort of playing basketball type thing. Box out the other guy. I'm going to box out this other guy. So now Jalen Hurts back on the field. Hurts has 2 great throws, 5 routine throws, 1 bad throw, according to my ledger. I've seen your name in our ledger, boy, somebody once said. JoJo says, might be a while before we compete in this division. Yeah, I think it's going to be about 15 to 20 years, JoJo, personally. Drake May is the real deal for those who don't know. And, of course, everybody knows Josh Allen's the real deal. So those two aren't going anywhere anytime soon. So not sure how we're going to do any better than third the next 15, 20 years. All right, so now Hurts has the ball and looked a little confusing there. Kept it himself, and that's a no-gainer, so that play didn't look very good. It'll be second down now. But I agree, JoJo. I mean, you got Josh Allen and you got the defensive head coach of Buffalo. Then you got Drake May, is not yet elite, but will be very soon. And then you got the defensive mind of Vrabel, so he's going to fix the defense, obviously. And so it's going to be very tough to compete against 2 of the best QBs in the league, for the next 10 to 15 years. So good luck to the Jets. All right, now Jalen Hurts is in the shotgun. Man in motion is Devontae Smith. They hand it off to Saquon. Gets about 4 different yards. 4 different yards, I said. 4 yards on that one. He didn't get 4 of the same yards. He got 4 different yards. So third down now. Let's see how they do on 3rd and long. The Eagles owner does not look too happy. Jeffrey Lurie, and I assume that's his wife, though you can never be sure. So 3rd down and 7 now. Down by 3. Hurts in the shotgun. 2-by-2 formation. 11 personnel. Looks over the middle. Looks to his right. Fires. Got a man underneath. It's Devontae Smith. That's a big gainer. So 1st down. Routine throw, and just let Devontae run with it. That's a good plan. Just an nice and easy throw. Bada bing, bada boom. They don't cover him. That's not a good idea. And there he goes for a 1st down. So they're able to convert there. Hurts on the night, 8 out of 9, 94 yards on the evening, including a couple over to A.J. Brown. Now they do a play action pass, and Hurts is now rolling out to his right, finds Mr. Brown. I'm going to give him a solid on that one. No, I think Jalen Hurts is probably a better passer than people give him credit for. He'll probably never be elite, but I think he's better than people give him credit for, even though they rely on the run a lot. But, so what? When he needs to make a throw, he can make a throw. Oh, that was a nice one. On the move, escaping from Spider-Man. Brown now 2 catches, 46 yards, so he should maybe be a little happier. 1st down and 10 from the plus 40-yard line. Pass rush does not get home. Looking, can't find anybody. Rolls to his left, throws. That's a routine throw out to Jahan Dotson. That'll be a 1st down. That was not good defense by the Gigantes. Got to get home on your pass rush, fellas. Paying you guys a lot of money. Event Horizon is here. He's got a long question here. Would you say that having the right quarterback would work with Aaron Glenn as a defensive head coach? Yeah, sure. Anything can work. If you get the quarterback, Event Horizon, everything else falls into place. In fact, that's probably, it's hard to say. It can work. Most of the teams have offensive head coach play callers, but obviously it can work with a defensive head coach as long as you have the good quarterback. And probably an elite quarterback, a great quarterback. There's different ways to do it. There's a handful of defensive head coaches who are successful in the league now, but mostly teams want to try to find the next offensive guru like Ben Johnson, Liam Cohen, and they try to do it that way. Of course, Liam Cohen and the Jaguars are over there now, and they're 4-1, but Lawrence is not having a good year as far as throwing the ball is concerned. But nonetheless, they're 4-1, so who am I to criticize? I'm a Jet fan. We're 0-5. So now Hurts back to pass again. Looks to his left. He's got a man. It's Goddard over the middle. That's his safety blanket. That's a routine pass. So the short answer is, yeah, of course it can work. Get the quarterback, get a decent OC. Probably, the OC quarterback combination is very important. You got to get the right OC, and maybe Tanner's that guy. Probably, maybe not. But if you have a good play caller and a really good quarterback, yeah, of course it can work. They still have A.J. Dillon on this team. It's 3rd and inches, so of course it's tush-push time. Here comes the tushing and the pushing. They're going to measure for a first down. I think he might have got it, actually. 3rd and inches. Hey, Karate says, should we trade down? Well, it depends on who's available, what quarterback it is. I think we're getting a quarterback. Now we got to see what happens. We got to see how many guys are viable by the end of the year. What's the bucket like? What's our draft position? If there's only one quarterback we like and we're 4th, it all depends. But if we have the first overall pick, we should probably take a quarterback as long as the one we like comes out. We don't even know who's coming out yet, Hi Karate. So it depends. Like the problem with Zach Wilson at number 2 was there just wasn't enough information. It was too risky to do, so you might as well trade there. That's another routine throw. The fact that we couldn't get Trevor Lawrence meant in that draft, when you looked at it, considering all the factors, there was too much risk with Wilson, in my opinion. Should have just stuck with Darnold, traded down, built up the team. And if Darnold doesn't do it the next year, then move on from him and then maybe get a veteran or what have you, and with a stacked team, But this year, it all depends on the circumstances. Who's available, who's coming out, where are we picking, what kind of trades are available to us. Ooh, how do I grade that throw? I'm just going to say bad. I don't think it was interceptable. Jojo says, I wouldn't be opposed to drafting 2 quarterbacks. No, we can't do that. We got too many holes, Jojo. We'll just sign a veteran like a Marcus Mariota type and have 2 veterans. I think we do the Jaxson Dart plan. Get 2 veterans, Fields being one. Sign another guy to a 1-year deal like Marcus Mariota, somebody like that, and then draft the quarterback. And then, so 3rd and 1, this is a long one. They're going to do a tush push from here. Do they ever fake that? This is not going to, oh, maybe it will work. Some reason they can always do a tush push. They really love pushing each other's asses, I tell you that. Nobody pushes each other in the butt better than this team. They just really know how to stick it in the butthole. They just really do. The old tush push. And Woody Johnson was one of the people who voted for the tush push to remain legal. And we haven't used it once. What's up with that? We were one of the 2, the league just needed 2 votes more for no to ban this play here. The Jets voted for it, and we haven't used it once. Not that I've seen anyway. What the hell did we vote for it for? Habmo says, we have Brady Cook. Well, he's on the P squad, yeah. He would be a guy who, just in the mix. We'll see what he does next year. You can't count on him for anything, Habmo. He's in the mix, but you don't really count on him much. Yes, please do hit the like button and also subscribe if you're not subscribed. And think about joining the inner circle by clicking the join button down below. Jojo says, Connor Rogers had a great breakdown. Dante Moore. Yeah, absolutely. Dante Moore is definitely in the top tier. So like a guy like Dante Moore, does he come out? He doesn't have to come out if he doesn't want to. Here's another tushy pushy. Tookus pushes. It's definitely a first down. I don't know what Thibodeau's talking about. Unless they took the ball from him. Yeah, the old Tookus in the pushes. Yeah, Dante Moore. The only problem with Dante Moore right now is the lack of starts. So that's, yeah, that should have been called on the Eagles right there. That's a false start. They didn't call that. The Eagles really just cheat every time on this play, by the way. Usually the guards line up offsides. Here you had a false start. Now it's 1st and goal, and they're going to do another tush push. They're just going to keep tush pushing their way. It's amazing. Nobody can stop this. It's really amazing. It's also amazing that their offensive linemen don't get concussions. I mean, these guys are, basically smashing their skull into the other guy, and, it's amazing they never get hurt. I think this is what Dayball's saying. They're lining up offside. They're false starting. They never get a penalty on it. So yeah, so Dante Moore, so far so good. He's in tier 1, and the only negative with him is he doesn't have a lot of starts under his belt. So we'll see how he does the rest of the way. But if he continues to perform well, then he's going to be in the top tier. The grade I had for him. So I'm grading these college quarterbacks. So here's my NFL one. Where is so I didn't grade him out that great. And I think that my grading system, I think, is going to turn out to be the one. We'll see, maybe not. Dante Moore, he graded out versus Penn State. I gave him a C plus. So that's not bad. It's pretty good, but it's not excellent either. So he got a C plus, and that's just for his, just for throwing. It doesn't account for all the other things. But as I've been saying, once you grade the throws, it sort of automatically accounts for processing and quick release and all that. Recognizing of defenses. Just grade the throws, and you'll be right there. So Dante Moore, and that was just one game, though. So, as a scout, as an unpaid Jets quarterback scout, you got to grade at least 5 games before you can have a solid opinion. But that one game, very, I would say impressive in terms of all the other things too. The moxie, it was on the road in the whiteout game at Penn State. That could be intimidating for a young quarterback. He was not intimidated whatsoever. So that's all great. And then he threw the ball pretty well, and then they won, and they beat Penn State. So all very impressive things, and we'll see how he continues to do. He's definitely one of the top ones on my radar. So, but that's one of the reasons I want people to join the inner circle, so that we could have more people using the system that I developed to grade these quarterbacks. So we don't have to go on Connor Rogers' opinion, because who knows how he does his rankings. I mean, first of all, Connor Rogers thought, what's his name? Will Campbell was a guard. So that brings up my tentacles a little bit. When you don't understand that Will Campbell was actually offensive tackle 1 in the class, because, you think his arms are too short. That's not good from an evaluator standpoint. So, I tend to stick more with Dane Brugler and a couple others. But you got to be careful with what they show you. So the other thing that grading the throws does, right, is you grade all the throws in the game. So when somebody does a breakdown, right, you said Connor Rogers had a great breakdown. How many plays did he show you, JoJo? Did he show you all the plays? I doubt it. He probably showed you 3-4 plays. Well, what if he selected the 3-4 plays where he was excellent, but he didn't show you the 4 or 5 plays where he wasn't? I'm not saying he was, but this is in general what evaluators do. It's hard to do a full, breakdown, because it would take too long. It's not a great video. You know what I mean? So that's the other thing that charting every single throw does. It gives you the discipline of understanding you got to grade every single throw. You can't just show a couple. Let's look at the whole game and see how that looks. So the Eagles pushed their way into another touchdown. They basically pushed from the 5 on 3 different plays or so and got into the end zone. I really do think next offseason that's going to be made illegal. Number one, it's not good football. It's not good for viewing. Nobody wants to see a bunch of tush pushes. And number two, it's not a football play. And number three, nobody should push any kind of ball carrier or pull them or push them or assist them in any way. We should get rid of that whole thing. And I think next year they'll have the votes for that. So, but in the meantime, pushing the tushings is going on. So now it's 17-13 Eagles. Here with 6:56 remaining in the second quarter, Jaxson Dart will come on. Started out hot, got a few lucky passes in and a few nice runs. Let's see how he continues to progress here in this ball game. Mr. Moxie, Jaxson Dart, he's got the confidence. JoJo says, seeing a lot of talk about Mateer. Yeah, he'll be back, and he's on the radar for sure. I don't think Mateer is good for the Jets. I think Mateer might be good. I'm not so sure he's good for the Jets, though. Just he's too much of a wild man. He might be back this Saturday, JoJo. It's either going to be this Saturday or next Saturday. This game or next game. Gunner takes it out to about the 35-yard line. That's where Jaxson Dart will take over. 6:49 remaining in the second quarter. Skiddle-dee-doo Scattaboo, 3 rushes, 9 yards. That's a 3-yard average, not very good. Wan'Dale Robinson, 3 catches, 61 yards, and a touchdown. Now, Dart's stats look very good. So all of Dart's normie stats and advanced stats are going to look very good. That's also another reason why we grade the throws, because you don't want to give credit to the quarterback for yak, because he doesn't deserve that credit. The receiver does. But of course, the stats have to reflect the game. Whereas when we're grading a quarterback, we don't have to reflect the statistical output of the game. We're grading. That's why we can have our own scouting system. And that's why we do it. Havmo, other stadiums people get injured in as well, Havmo. Even grass stadiums. Jaxson Dart now hands the ball off to, I think that's Tracy. So a couple of handoffs to start this drive. So it'll be 3rd down and 6 or 7 now. See what the Giants do. We'll see what old Vic Fangio does in trying to prevent this young quarterback from scrambling for a first down, which is probably what he would like to do. 3rd down and 6. I guess 6 is medium technically, but probably going to throw here. You would have to think. He's in the shotgun. Skiddle-dee-doo Scattaboo right next to him. He's got men out wide, a 2-by-1 formation. Actually, 3-by-1. Count the tight end. 11 personnel on the field. Looks to his left. Throws. There's a nice little throw, but I would say that's a routine throw. Picking on Kelly Ringo, the worst of their defensive backfield players. But still, that's a nice play by Dart. Just get the first down. Make the easy stuff look easy. Stop route. Yeah. Pretty good. Pretty good. Now he's got a man in motion out of the shotgun. Skiddle-dee-doo Scattaboo fakes the handoff. Now he's running up the middle. There he goes. And he gets about 9, 10, 11 yards. So utilizing the run game with the quarterback. Injury update. Quinyon Mitchell, hamstring questionable. So it looks like he's out. He doesn't have his helmet. He's got a beanie cap on, so I think he's probably out for the game, it looks like. 2nd down and 1, so they gave him 9 yards on that. Still out of the shotgun. Now here's a running play to Skiddle-dee-doo Scattaboo. It gets about 4 or 5 yards for number 44. Maybe the new John Riggins. Skiddle-dee-doo Scattaboo. Wearing the same number. 5 rushes, 18 yards. So got it up above 3 yards per carry. All right, way to go. Skittles. Now we got 2 people in the backfield with Dart. They throw a short pass over to Wan'Dale Robinson. A little smoke route. Makes a play, routine pass there. But doesn't get much yardage, if any at all. So it'll be 2nd down now. But that's a nice soft throw. Nice easy throw, I should say. On 1st down, where if he breaks a tackle, okay, great. But if not, all right. No damage done. All right, now we got Jaxson Dart pretty much working exclusively out of the shotgun. 2-by-2 formation, two receivers way out wide. Looks like they're going to bring a blitz. They do. He does not get home, throws it behind, but able to catch his Theo Johnson routine pass. JoJo says, I feel like I'm watching a different game when I see other teams play compared to the Jets. Well, the Jets are one of the worst teams in the league right now. So when you're bad, you play bad. And I think Daboll is doing a really nice job with this young quarterback in bringing him along. They're down and 4 now out of the shotgun again. We got a trips bunch left. So he's got an ISO on the right. Ooh. Where are they going to give him the yardage? I would challenge that spot. Almost picked off. He's making some dangerous throws. How am I going to grade this throw? Is that a bad pass? The distance is routine. I'm just going to give him routine. But it's almost picked off. I mean, he's had 3 passes that were almost picked off, really. Seems to me he's gotten a little bit of luck in this game. 2nd and 4. I think it was tipped. That's another thing. If a ball gets tipped, I mean, if a ball gets batted down, then we have a category for that. But if a ball gets tipped and goes through the line of scrimmage, how do I grade that? And I'm not seeing a replay, so I can't tell if it was. But, you definitely like the confidence, the moxie of this kid. He's definitely got all that. These players are arm tackling, says Bialy. All right, but the game's moving fast. We know that. And so that means we're coming up on overtime. I mean, halftime. Quinyon Mitchell. Yeah, it looks like Quinyon Mitchell is out. Uh, and then for the Giants, defensive lineman DJ Davidson is questionable to return. So we'll see about that. But as we approach halftime, when we go to halftime, of course, FSPN becomes KFRANK, and we listen to the music Frankie likes. Not many other people like that music, but that's okay because it's KFRANK. You know? That's intentionally why we named it that. That's what we did. It was intentional. We intended it that way. I don't know. If I had to guess, I think Jaxson Dart will probably be good. I think I think so. I don't know. But that's just a guess right now. Habmo says K Frank is legit. Let's hope so, Habmo. Hopefully people do like the music. I like it. It's music I have access to. It's my friend's band, my best friend who's no longer alive, unfortunately. Keeping it's like a tribute to him. It's like a what do you call that? It's like a tribute or honoring. 2nd down and 4, 2-minute warning for the first half. Dart moving them down the field again, so you got to give him credit. Though he's had some questionable passes, but still moving them down the field, 2nd down and 4, and he's back to pass. Look, can't find anybody, can't find anybody, can't find anybody. Running around, scrambling around, and escapes. Look at his escapability, though. He really does have an ability to escape the pocket. That is an ability. I think you call it pocket presence, you call it pocket manipulation, but there's been a lot of times where he really should have been sacked, including this one. But he moves around just enough, feels it just enough. That is an ability. Escapability of the pocket is definitely an ability, and he's got that pretty good. Look like they hit him out of bounds a little bit. Not going to get the call, it seems. So now it'll be first down and 10. He's got 3 carries, 36 yards. They're at the 15. Plenty of time, no problem, in the shotgun. And he hands it over to Skiddly-Doo, Scattaboo, and gets about, 5 or 6 yards, and he's still fighting and goes down. And now Scattaboo looks like he might be injured. Good thing we got this on mute. Otherwise, we would have to listen to Kirk Herbstreit, which you really don't want to do for your own health. It's really not helpful in any way, shape, or form. So good thing we got that on mute. We don't have to listen to what he's saying. We really don't need his analysis whatsoever. Yeah. You need to know something, you ask old Frankie. I'll tell you. We don't need Kirk. What do we need Kirk Herbstreit for? We don't need Kirk Herbstreit for nothing. He does pro games. He does college games. He's got a YouTube channel. I mean, come on with this guy. All right, Jaxson Dart now. Looks like his nameplate's coming off his uniform. He's not going to worry about that. It's second down and 4, minute 40 remaining. Just getting out of the huddle now. I wish they would show the players instead of a close-up of his face. No one wants to see the man's face. Let's see what players are on the field, perhaps. How about that, Amazon Prime? Okay, we got 12 personnel, it looks like. So big people, and they give it to Scatty Boo for a couple, and he gets a couple. So it'll be third down and about 2 now. They're chewing up the clock. Also a good idea to make sure this clock goes down and wonder if the Eagles, looks like they're going to take a timeout themselves because, if they get a stop here and they kick a field goal, then you will have time to go back down for another score. So, yeah, if the JF7 has to do, But Fields, I don't. His pocket presence isn't exactly the same. He's good at that, and you'll see him scramble a lot. But Dart seems to have a little bit of a better feel for it. It's like a feel that you get. You just feel. I don't know. It's like a sense. Zach was bad at that. His pocket awareness was not great. Fields much better than Wilson, but Dart seems to be really good at it. So that's another plus in his cap. Of course, he doesn't wear a cap. He wears a helmet. But now he is under center. We got big personnel in here, 13 personnel with Skiddly-Doo Scatty-Boo, and they're running a quarterback sneak, and I think he got it. So even against that big Eagles front, Dart able to get it. Now they are missing their other big defensive tackle that would be helpful in those situations. But now it's a first and goal, so Giants should effectively be able to run down the clock and or score a touchdown. So the Eagles should be out of timeouts after this one. And don't forget also, Avmo, Fields is a 6-year vet at this point? For the rookie, you give him much more leeway, right? Because he's a rookie, and what you don't want to see is fumbalaya. And I mean, he's had 3 passes that really could have been intercepted, but they were kind of like, I can't make them interceptable. I mean, Dart has 1 interceptable. The other 2 were close, but also it couldn't make it totally interceptable because the receiver caught it. It's like, man, some of this grading is, not so easy. It's not so easy to be a quarterback grader all the time. All right, so now he's under center. He fakes a handoff to Skiddly-Doo. Scatty-Boo stands there, has a man, throws. Oh, my goodness. Almost picked. I'm just going to give him bad for that one. But his receiver did get a hand on it, but it was also in traffic and also almost picked off. Jeez. Let's see this again. See, like, why is he throwing that? The guy's covered. And he threw it falling down. Sheesh. All right, now they got 11 personnel on the field, 3-by-1 formation. They bring a man in from the left. They hand it off to Scatty Boo, and there he goes for a touchdown. Skiddle-dee-doo, Scatty Boo. But now it's 1:19 remaining. Yeah, I would say that the Giants' offensive line looks pretty solid today. They historically have problems with that O-line, but it's looking pretty good today for whatever the reason. So, and Dart, he enjoys his end zone dances, that's for sure. But I think that O-line is looking pretty good, relatively. So the Giants will put up 20 points in a half. Yeah, you got to say that's pretty good. 20 points and a half against a tough opponent. Yeah, can't really argue too much about that. So yeah, the Giants looking good. Maybe things are looking up for the Gigantes, which of course is just, even more pain for the Jets since we live in the same stadium they do. And we're the little brothers of that relationship. So, the Giants getting back on track will, of course, just add to our misery. And that's the way it goes. The Jets are really not a football team so much as a pain management device. The Jets are really there to make you a more resilient human. The Jet fan gets the benefit of all of the pain that the team inflicts upon you, and you get to be more resilient to that pain in your regular life. You know, that's really what it is. It's just pain on pain on pain. And it's hard to really imagine an end to it, at least as of right now. Maybe things change when we get a new quarterback. I don't know. Probably not, though. Karate says, not a lot of flags tonight, thank God. Yeah, that's true. That is true. Bialy almost took the Eagles in my survivor pool, thought the Giants were going to show up tonight. Yeah. Yeah, the Giants are an interesting team. If they can get some solid offensive line play like they are tonight, and Dart can play well and limit the turnovers, they could be dangerous because the defense should be good. They have some questions in the backfield a bit, but that front is pretty fierce. So they could be a good team. They can make some noise. Why not? Mormons want to dance, I guess. Yeah. All right, so just checking for some news here. The Eagles will have some time to try and make a 2-minute drive here. We'll have to see how they do. But so far, so good for the Giants. They're up 20-17, going, with a minute 19 remaining in the half. Oh, they fumbled the kick. That looks very Jetsian. And now they're going to have it at the 5-yard line. So that probably killed the chance for that. That was very Jetsian. Number 37. Can't be doing that unless you want to join the Jets. So they're probably not going to push it from the 5, I would think. Who's this Bigsby? Tank Bigsby. I wish my name was Tank Bigsby. But not good, Tank. Tanker man. Sirianni doesn't like it. Let's see how aggressive they are. Oh, let's switch over to Jalen Hurts. Let's see how aggressive they are here at the end of the half. A minute 12 remaining. They're on their own, well, really the 7-yard line. I don't know how they spotted him there. But Barkley gets it off to a good start and runs for about 20 yards or so, 18 maybe. So that might make, but they don't have any timeouts. That's a problem. So now they're running it down, running. They should probably do a pass play here. They're out at the 25-yard line now. So that was about an 18-yard run by Barkley. Hurts just goes over the middle for 8 yards. Well, the problem with that is the clock's going to run. What are you going to do? Spike it with 40 seconds? You needed to throw an out route there. It's 36, 35. Well, this is going to be tough. They really only need one or two big plays, but you can't be throwing underneath here. You got to throw it long. Instead, he does throw it outside, so it's not too bad. 25 seconds remaining. They do have a good kicker, Elliott. Elliott phoned home with a field goal. All right, now he's in the shotgun. He's got a 2-by-2 formation. He's moving Goddard from right to left. Let's see if he's able to hit a big shot. Nope. Goes outside. Goddard. I would say that's bad. $17, I got 10. Yeah, 17, 10, 13, 14, 15, 16. All right. Routine. 17. So, second down and 10. 21 seconds remaining. See if they can get it into field goal range. Now he's running out of the pocket. Throws. That's a throwaway. Yeah, they're going to have a hard time now. 15 seconds. Third down and 10. Hurts does not have a cannon arm. That's something you could say about him. He does not have he does not have the strongest arm in the world. And pass rushers should be looking for Sakalaka. Saquon Barkley not on the field. It's Shipley on the field. Goddard, Brown, Dotson, and Smith. Lions take a timeout just to give the defense a breather. Why not? Florida Jets fan is here. Very Jetsian. Yeah, that's going to be a thing. Look at that guy. He's looking very Jetsian. Not a compliment. Not a compliment. Yeah. All right, now they got 3-by-1, not exactly a bunch, loose bunch, I guess you'd call it. All right, now Hurts is looking, and now he's going to scramble in the middle of the field. That's not what you don't want to do that. How are you going to stop the clock? And he's not even hurrying. He's not going to get another playoff. Playoff? See, that was stupid. Well, that wasn't great clock management, but nonetheless, so it goes to half 20-17. And as we go to half, of course, we change over to KFRANK. And let's see. Oh, yeah. We got to change the logo. And we'll turn on a little music. And I hope you guys enjoy a little Das Frog. Das Frog, Staten Island band, 4-man band. Here's a little tune called 360.
he swears he knew before. She says coyly through a curl of smoke, I am a pirate in the daytime. He whispers to her lightly, bending all to touch her ear. Says I learned to live without you, and I'm fine in misery. She says I'm sad without you, can we forget about the mean times? He says, girl, I'd do anything if we could just forget the mean times. They've made up their own language, jumping at the other's cue. But when the other's not around, they find ways to pass the mean time. Said when the other's not in town, they find ways to pass the mean times. In winter, and neither one can figure why. They find privacy in his car, still it's sweet. She says half in jest, I never see you in the daytime. He says that's cause I don't want it, I'm a pirate in the daytime. It really wasn't true. As expected, citing all the others' wrongs, both in the back of their minds that he'll be back, yeah, she'll be back again, at least for tonight. I'll get some sleep in the meantime. If not forevermore, we'll live on in the meantime. Yeah.
Try this with, let me know if there's any difference in the mic. I took out the headphones. Let me know if there's any difference. But then if I try to play a different song, now I can hear it.
dead fall. It's a lack of communication that we are all guilty of.
Playing, we got some football to get back to. So the game's about to restart here. And Jets is here with a super chat. He says, bigger loss in trade Q or a mod Q easily. But we'll, it'll be very interesting to see how Muji approaches this deadline. So thank you, Florida Jets fan. Good timing. Yeah. Habmo says, good sounds. All right. People are kind of liking the music. Cool. Happy to hear that. Usually it's not the case. Justin Jet says, I don't really like our chances of winning the Super Bowl this year, guys. Yeah, well, 0-5 will do that to you. Frankie, what's your thoughts on trading back? Well, it depends on many different things that we can't tell as of yet. There's a routine pass for Mr. Dart. So too early to speculate, Justin. And, once we know our draft position, who's coming out, what's going on, how the quarterbacks, the college quarterbacks all do for the rest of the season, who's coming out of the, who's coming into the draft, who's not, et cetera, then we can make those decisions. Hand it off to Scatty Boo. Gets a few yards. Snoopy says, who's this? It's a band called Das Frog out of Staten Island, New York. You may have heard of Staten Island. And it's my friend's band. My friend Christopher Dylan Micah is the lead singer of that band, and he's no longer alive, unfortunately. Lexio Dart is saving jobs. Yeah, I think the owner and everybody's looking at this like, all right, kid's doing pretty good. Ooh, there's a nice throw, but it gets broken up. So how do I grade this one? Can I get a replay? The ones where it's a nice throw but they don't catch it, or a bad throw and they do catch it, those are the toughest ones to grade. I'm going to give him a good grade on that throw. It's right there. Can't hurt the kid. I'm going to give him a solid on that one. I give him a solid. That was a solid throw. The guy just dropped it. So that's another thing about my system. If you have a lot of dropsicles in a game, that shouldn't hurt the quarterback if they're good throws, right? So my system, he gets a good grade on that throw. Even though the stats, and all the stats, normie stats and advanced stats, that play right there looks like not a good play for Jaxson Dart. But the reality is that was a good throw. So you get credit for it in the Frankie QB scouting system. Florida says Staten Island. Yeah, man, I spent a lot of time in Staten Island. Flag on the play. Particularly Grasmere section of Staten Island. Man, spent a lot of my youth in Staten Island. Staten Island, Staten Island, bagel stores on every corner. Gotta love songs about Staten Island. Infrared wants to keep Garrett Wilson. I would say that's a good idea. Florida used to live right on Father Cap. I don't know what that is. Joe the Jet C, I'm so jelly of the Giants right now. Well, I think we could do the Giants plan, Joe the Jets G. What if we do the Giants plan for next year? We just do the same plan they did. Steal their plan. Right? I mean, we should look for models out there that other teams are doing that work. Why don't we steal their model? What did they do? They signed 2 veterans, who aren't that great, and they drafted one in the first round. Now they drafted Abdul Carter and then traded into the first round and got him. But same idea. Why don't we do the same thing? Have 2 veterans and then draft one also. Why don't we do that? Okay, Highland Boulevard I know of. Now, I'm not going to say I'm an I didn't live it. Well, actually, I lived 1 year in Staten Island, actually, on St. Mark's Place. But other than that, I didn't live on Staten Island, so I'm not. But I was there at Chris and my friend Chris and Dave's house mostly. Infrared says, I reside in Bayonne, right next to Staten Island. The people in Staten Island can't drive for shit. People anywhere can't drive for shit, Infrared. People are just bad drivers. Yeah, at least yeah, I have, Mo. That's why I keep trying to tell people I'm hysterical. I'm hilarious. Right there by Verrazano Bridge. Yeah, I would go over that Verrazano Bridge all the time, usually by bus back then. But Justin says, wide receiver edge. Well, it depends who we sign in free agency, Justin. But I think edge, we need at least 3 edge players. So, and we need, depends what happens with Aaron. Like, is Arian Smith a viable NFL wide receiver? We don't know. Could Arian Smith be like a wide receiver 3? And then we just need 1, and then you get some bums to be 4 and 5, All right, so now you got Jalen Hurts coming back. Now they're starting from their -7 or so, 6.5. And they start with a handoff to Saquon, the Saquonimus one. Jaxson Dart 10 times better than Cam Ward. Well, let's not be too hasty. So far, he's played better, yeah. But see, the Titans did a plan. Think about the plan, Joe. The plan is the most important thing. The Titans' plan was what the Jets always do. They said, here, it's your team. We're not getting any, not getting too many weapons. We're going to have a shoddy offensive line. And here's the whole playbook and, go get them. That's what the Jets always do. That's terrible. That's a terrible plan. We should do the Giants' plan. Don't make it too hard on the kid. When he's ready to play, he's ready to play. You don't just stick him in there and say, good luck, throw him in the deep end. It doesn't, I guess sometimes it works. CJ Stroud, but Stroud's, taking a couple of steps back. But, I like what the Giants did. Take the pressure off. We got these veterans here. They'll mentor you. And then whenever you're ready, you're good to go. Why not do that? So we need, all right. So now Hurts is 3rd and 6. Now he's back to pass, looking left, going deep. Oh, he's got a man wide open and he misses him. That is why the wide receivers are frustrated with Jalen Hurts. Devontae Smith was wide ass open. And all I can do is give him a bad on that. I don't even have a special category for a super bad pass. Maybe I should, because this isn't interceptable. But this is just a bad pass. You got to hit him. That was very Fieldsian. You got to hit the man. Sorry, Jalen. Very bad. Very, very bad. And that's what people, like his detractors, will point to throws like that and go, that's why he's not a big-time QB. Yeah. They have a point. But then again, he does make a lot of good throws. He just missed on that one. All right, so Dart gets another good field position situation here. Joe the Jet G, what would it take for Dante Moore to come out and declare? Probably an advisory board recommendation that he's going to be a top 5 pick. And even so, he might go back because don't forget he plays for Oregon. Who funds Oregon? Remember, Joe, who funds Oregon? Who's the big Oregon donor? Do you know? Sounds like it's raining like crazy here. All right. Nike, right. So, basically any amount of money that the kid wants to stay, if he wants to, he's going to get. Phil Knight, right? Phil Knight of Nike's going to basically would give him whatever he wants to stay. 10 million, 20 million, who knows how many millions. So it's not like the old days. But if he gets a top 5 recommendation from the advisory board, he'd probably go, I guess. It's up to him what he wants to do. I don't know. With the NIL money now, it's a totally different deal. And you can get insurance, policies in case you have a catastrophic injury like Jordan Travis. You can get insurance that covers that. So you get a big payout if you get one of those things. And then on top of that, the straight cash money that they give you, these guys aren't so much afraid of the injury risk. All right, 3rd down and 1. The Giants will not use a tush push, apparently. They do have 13 personnel on the field, however, interestingly enough. 13 personnel plus Scatty Boo is a good combo, I think. And there it goes. 1st down. I mean, Scatterboo is just like a jackhammer. He's like a human jackhammer. Flag on the play. So we got to see what all of these. I mean, we don't know what we're going to do. We don't know who we're going to sign in free agency. What if we sign a big wide receiver free agent to be our wide receiver 2? And then Arian Smith is wide receiver 3. Then we don't need that as much. I would prefer to do that and then focus in the draft on defense. We need so much on defense. Personal foul, face mask, defense. So this game is going pretty well for the Giants, you got to say. They're a 1-4 squad going up against a 4-1 squad, and they're getting a lot of things going their way here. That easily could have been not called. I mean, he's got his hand in there. Take your hand out of there, dude. Yeah, he left it there a long time. But you wonder if somebody's going to take down the Eagles in the NFC. Seems pretty wide open. The Rams, maybe. The 49ers looking pretty good. Dart now looking around, throws. That's a bad pass. But there is a flag, and he might get DPI on it. And it seems like this Kelly Ringo is not good. If you remember, Kelly Ringo was supposed to be a big-time prospect. He is not. Yep, they got him for illegal contact. Remember, Kelly Ringo was supposed to be like a first-round pick in the beginning of that year when he was coming out. Yeah, ticky-tack. And he fell in the draft, but he's still regarded as an excellent athlete, but he's not very good at playing cornerback. So these college kids, the fates can change very quickly. It's just, here's a zone read with Dart running. Another good choice. Another thing we should do more of with Fields. These zone reads, and he reads it very well here. Sees the end going down. Ojulari. So 2nd down and 3. And run up the middle with Tracy gets held up by Makuba. So it'll be 3rd down now. Aunt Jet says, is JJ playing Sunday? It looks like that. He is. Trending that way. He went from a DNP on Wednesday to a LP on Thursday. All the Jets reporters are saying that it looks like he's playing Sunday. So when the Jet reporters are saying things like that, usually means they have some insider info. We'll see. Hopefully he's an FP tomorrow. Tomorrow's Friday, right? Yeah. So what you want to look for is full participant on Friday. If that's the case, then probably so. And same thing for Kane. If Kane's FP, then he probably plays as well, and that'll be good for our kick return game. Justin Jets, any chance, assuming he's a top three? That I don't think so, Justin. I think we're taking a quarterback. But things can change. If Fields balls out and shows you he's a completely different player than he has been, then maybe. But other than that, I don't see any other chance. I think we're taking a quarterback in round one, personally. At least as of now, things can change. A long time till then, blah, blah, blah. The thing we need to look at now is not really the draft right now. We need to look at the trade deadline. The next big date for the Jets is actually November 4th. The trade deadline is a big, big day because what is Muji going to do? What's the philosophy here? Where do the Jets think they are at? And can they get anything for these people who are not going to be here next year, like Clemens and Lazard and these people? Can they get anything for Tony Adams? Probably not. But can they get anything for these people who are not going to be here? And if so, who are the people we trade? You'd love to, even if it's a pick swap for Lazard, a pick swap for Clemens. We need to start stacking up those picks. And hopefully we're able to do that. We couldn't sign anyone at the trade deadline. Well, what we want to do is trade players for assets because we need to start stockpiling picks for next year. Infrared. That's what we need. And now, if there are some players that we could acquire that make a lot of sense, like Carl Granderson, however, or Chris Olave or something, yeah, sure, go for it. But most likely, we're going to have to be sellers. And can we get anybody to want some of these people that are on our staff? John Michael Schmidt seems to have a bloody nose or something. All right, now 3rd down and 3 is in the shotgun. We got 11 personnel on the field. You wonder, this is probably a zone read, I would think. With him no, he's going to do a straight drop back, looks to his right, looking, and now he's going to scramble for it. And did he get it is the question. It looks like they're going to give it to him. Yeah, so he's good at that. Now, you see a lot of these QBs, they run out of bounds before they get to the first down marker. Not this kid. So good field awareness. Question is, did he go out before that? I don't think so. I think that's a first down. So 1st and 10, and again, Dart gets it with his legs when he needs it, which as a young QB, that's perfectly fine. So now he's looking left, throws it up toward the end zone. That's a bad pass. Joe the Jet G, what if Dallas trades 2 first-round picks for Quinnen? 2 firsts? I don't know. I'd have to think about it. I mean, you trade Quinnen, then you basically have nothing in the middle. I mean, Dallas has 2 firsts in this draft, so you mean 2 firsts in 26? I mean, and then we get 3 first-round picks, and then I'd have to think about it. Here's Skiddle-dee-doo, Scatty-boo. Yeah, I'd think about it. Tony Alexio, back to the package talk. Nobody loves a man's package more than Tony Alexio. I'll tell you that much. Tony Alexio loves these players' packages. And again, I think this offensive line and even the tight ends the blocking here is just really better than what they're used to in the Giant land. Seems to me, without looking at the tape. Now it's 1st and goal. It looks like another touchdown for the Giants coming up here. So going to go up by 10. And Scatty Boo fighting. You know he's going to fight until he's dead. They whistle him down at the 1. Jaxson Dart is high-fiving the refs. I'm not sure if that's allowed. Are you allowed to high-five the refs? I don't think so. They whistled him dead, even though this guy's going to fight until he's dead. Oh, that's a touchdown. What are they talking about? Then a guy knocks it out. This Scattaboo is just an amazing dude. That's got to be a TD. Throw the flag. I think it's a touchdown, yeah. So Giant fans have to be pretty excited in this game. Dayball is also seems like Brian Dayball is much more animated this year. Is it just me, or is Brian Dayball more animated on the sidelines? He's going nuts with Dart. He's going nuts with Scattaboo. Seems like he's much more animated this year than he's ever been. Maybe I haven't been paying attention to Brian Dayball that much, but I mean, it just seems like he's just like I don't know. He's just more fiery or something. Giants have a team, Alexio says. Yeah, maybe they do. Finally, right? He has dirty thinking. I don't know, Alexio. You're the one talking about packages all day. But yeah, I don't know. Dayball seems like he's just more into it, right? I don't know. He seems way more animated. Maybe he just likes this team better, the team he assembled here, better than previous teams. Maybe he just really didn't like Daniel Jones. But Joe, explain this. They got rid of Daniel Jones. Look what he's doing on the Colts. Explain that one, Joe. What are the Colts doing that Dayball couldn't figure out how to do? I don't know. I haven't watched any of the Colts games, so I don't know. I just know Daniel Jones is playing really well, and they're winning. And so how come Daniel Jones is playing good for the Colts, but he couldn't play good for Dayball? Explain that one, Joe. Because I don't know. What's that all about? They couldn't wait to get rid of old Daniel Jones. High-fiving the refs, that's a Mormon thing. So I guess anything the guy does, we're just going to say that's a Mormon thing. Jones a better fit for the Colts. Why, though? What are the Colts doing that the Giants didn't? What are the Colts doing that Dayball couldn't figure out how to do? But now he's figuring out how to do it with Jaxson Dart? I don't understand. I do not understand what's going on. But maybe it was just something about Daniel Jones that, Dayball just wasn't into. He just wasn't into him. Yeah. It's not you, it's me, buddy. But whatever it is, I think Dayball finally has the team he's wanted, right? Like, next week on Thursday night, we'll get to grade Aaron Rodgers and Joe Flacco, who will be playing for the Cincinnati Bengals. Amazing. So every week we just get a new surprise of all these quarterbacks to grade. You see Dayball, he's coaching up Jaxson Dart. He's coaching up Scatty Boo right in their ear hole. I never seen him do that before. Maybe I wasn't paying attention to Dayball, but seems like he just likes this team that they have finally assembled better, maybe. I don't know. Yeah, sure is. Battle of the old men. Yeah, Rodgers and Flacco. The old man bowl. Dayball, well, I hate to break it to you, Bialy, but Daniel Jones is about as fast as they come. Daniel Jones can run. What are you talking about? So I don't get it. But whatever it is, Daboll seems really into this team now. And and Dart seems to be a good leader. He has some you see some of the good traits he has already. Now, can Hurts bring back the Eagles? Now, it'd be interesting if the Eagles started falling down a peg or two. They lost their last game there to the Broncos. Now they're behind by 10 here in the third quarter to the Giants, who, are kind of like a new team because of Dart. Let me know if there's a difference in quality in the audio because StreamYard's giving me a little symbol. All right, Hurts now back to pass, looking, can't find anybody, wants a guy to go deep, now scrambling backwards, now going forwards, finally throws the ball. What am I going to do with this kind of a throw? I guess I'll give him a solid. Solid throws are defined as typically 8 to 12 yards downfield, accurate on coverage busts, jumpers. Who knows? Maybe we see, yeah, right. Let's hope so. Gangrene Goliath, be nice if we utilized. Yeah, exactly. Justin Jett sometimes, yeah, that's true. Habmo said Dart likes the big stage. That's a broken out Mormon thing. So, like everything that Dart does good, we're just going to say that's a Mormon thing, right? Let's not discuss the man's religion. How about? I couldn't care less if he's a Mormon or what he is. Whatever he wants to believe, that's his business. AJ Brown, I think this is a catch. Catch, feet. What are they looking at? This is a catch. What? Saying it's incomplete? Why? I thought it was a catch. I guess not. Florida Jet fan says Zach Wilson wannabe. I think Zach Wilson's a Jaxson Dart wannabe. But just because they both came from Utah and both might be Mormon, who cares? The Giants lost to the Saints because they have no weapons. Because no, I don't think so. I think their game plans. The reason the Giants lost last week was the turnovers. So Dart's been doing better. He had some iffy throws in the beginning that he got away with, and that's really been the difference. And then I think Daboll's game plan with him is excellent. It's not very complicated. It's simple. When things break down, just run, and that's good. It's a good game plan. And speaking of running, here's Hurts. He only gets 3 or 4 yards. Now it's going to be third down. So the Giants really, this is their formula. If Dart can just be the game manager and not make too many mistakes, then I think they got a decent enough running game, and the defense should be good with all these people they have on defense. As much pressure as they can bring on you. So that's really the formula that they got going on. So 3rd and 7. So they should be able to pressure him, and they do. Here comes Burns, and can he get out of it? No. Brian Burns, still awesome. But what a great thing. Speaking of packages, what a great package the Giants put together. Let's put all these defensive linemen in here and make life hell for the quarterback. Excellent job. That's how you build a defensive line, Joe Shane. That's how you do it, buddy. You get all the help you can get. That's what you do. So I can see the formula coming together for the Giants now. We'll see how good Dart continues to be or doesn't be. All right. So, yeah, it's looking pretty good for the Giants, looking pretty good for Jaxson Dart. Let's plug these into the grading system and see how he grades out. Let's see. Jaxson Dart. I got him as no elite throws, one great throw, uh, three solid throws, nine routine throws, four bad throws, one interceptable, and then zeros. And then we put this as this C2 to C7. And he's grading out as a C. So, just for passing, a lot of his game today is running around. But just as far as passing goes, he's got a C in my system. Now, if you asked a Giant fan, how did Jaxson Dart do tonight? He would be like A plus, A plus. So, but again, I just grade the throws. We know he's good at running. We know he's good at pocket presence. I don't need to grade those things. But his throwing so far tonight is a C, which is okay. It's been okay. Because ultimately, you are going to have to throw the ball as a quarterback. Well, it'll be interesting to see if the Eagles do continue to fall. They had their first loss last week. Now they're on a short week. The Giants have a very safe plan with Dart, and he got away with a few bad throws in the beginning that could have been intercepted, and they're running him a lot, so that's hard to deal with for any defense as the running quarterback, and he's doing a good job with that. So you can see the plan with him. You can see the plan. It's not to put him, into 7-step drops and let him read the defense and go through his progressions. That's not what he's doing, nor should it be. This is a good plan. I like this. This is the way we should, whatever young quarterback we get next year, this is the way we should do it with them. We should do the same thing, the Dart plan. That's the takeaway for me. We don't yet know if he's great or not, but he's doing what he's asked to do. And in this game, he's not turning the ball over, and that's the difference between this game and the previous game. Too many turnovers in the last one. So that's where we are. Yeah, that's true. The Eagle fans are, not patient either, as we know. And you look at Dart, he is taking a lot of hits. I mean, that's one thing you would worry about a little bit. Event Horizon says, a stupid but honest question. How do New Yorkers choose? Well, it's who you rooted for as a kid, Event Horizon. I don't know where you're living, where you're from. But when you're a kid, you choose your teams. Like when I was a kid, Reggie Jackson was a big deal on the Yankees, and I saw Reggie Jackson on television. I said, "Oh my God, that guy's amazing." I loved me some Reggie Jackson, and so I became a Yankee fan. And that was it. There was no Mets. It was Yankees. And it was the same thing with the Jets. I was a big Wesley Walker fan. I heard that Wesley Walker was legally blind in one eye, and he was still an awesome football player. And I said, "Holy crap, that's a team I want to root for." So it's whatever team you choose as a kid, and then it just sticks with you, bud. All right, 3rd down and 2 now for Jay Dart. Let's see if they choose to bring the house. They bring a 5th rusher, but not the house. He throws it over the middle. That's a nice pass. I give him a solid on that. Good job by Jackson on that one. We'll see how much better he gets over time as well. While some runs are schemed and some are not. And sometimes the plan, Havmo, is do 1 or 2 reads and then run. They tell him before the game. Don't even do a full-fledged read. But some zone reads are prescribed. Some are not. There's a routine throw. But you see, now he's getting into a rhythm, so this is good, even better. So yeah, you can definitely scheme up the running, and you can also say, look, if the first read isn't there, just run, or the second read, just run, and you just tell them that's the game plan. Don't worry about it. If you get 2-3 yards, we're good. You just tell them that. Dart again, back to pass. Now going deep down the left sideline. That's an overthrow. So 3rd down and 3 now. But yeah, so that's how you do it. And then you have zone reads, you have quarterback power, you have all different kinds of plays where you want to run the quarterback intentionally. And zone reads are options. And depending on what the defense does, the quarterback has to make a decision and could wind up running or not, depending on what the defense does. But I also would say this is not really a great game for Vic Fangio. He's supposed to be he is a great defensive coordinator, but this is not exactly his finest moment. And that's the sort of thing, Philadelphia fans will be like, fire Vic Fangio. It's like, give me a break. Now there's a flag backing him up. And that's why I want to see us doing more zone reads with Justin Fields. I don't understand why we're not doing that. Maybe coming off the concussion, they didn't want to, play around with that. In the last game, the zone reads went down significantly as a percentage of the plays. But maybe they didn't want to run it coming off the concussion. They wanted to play it safe, maybe. So we'll see how the rest of the year goes, but I track all that. And we need to be running more of that stuff because that's what Justin's good at, generally speaking. That's a nice play right there. So you're starting to see now Dart making some really nice plays here. This is because Rush is in his face. He doesn't panic and finds his guy. I really like this. And puts it on him. I'm going to give that even a great. That's high-level quarterback play right there. Right there. That throw. Want to see more of that. So maybe he's developing right before our eyes. Remember, this kid was coached by Charlie Weiss Jr. and Lane Kiffin down in Mississippi. Oh, there's a sack. And does have, the other thing about Dart that's different and he's staying on the ground. So as I was saying, he's taking too many hits. Uh-oh. This doesn't look good. But what was I saying? Well, he also put in a ton of starts down in college. Dart did. He basically has like 5, I think, years worth of starting experience, and then half of it looks like a concussion perhaps. And then half of it in the SEC, coached by Lane Kiffin and Charlie Weiss Jr. and Joe Judge also on that staff. So a lot of professional stuff going on there with this kid, in addition to his, skill sets. So there's a lot of factors. Yeah, but in New York, I think a lot of those, like the historical team is the Giants. You know what I mean? They have a longer history, and so families who are rich probably have a longer history, and they therefore would be Giants fans, more likely. Jet fans are the little brother upstart team like the Mets, like the Mets and Yankees. Sorry about your Mets, Infrared. At least the Yankees made the playoffs and won a series, but didn't do that much good. They got bounced after that. But what's going on with the Mets? They spend all this money. They don't even make the playoffs. Everybody told me Stevie Cohen was going to fix all the problems. I guess he didn't. Imo says, Dart will be topic number 1 tomorrow on Jet shows. It will be annoying. Sucks we have doubts. Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't think too many Jet fans really care. I mean, do Jet fans really care what's going on with the Giants that much? I mean, it's slightly annoying, but I don't care if the Giants are good, right? Do you guys care if the Giants are good? I really don't. I kind of want them to be good. I mean, I want us to be good too. I mean, the main thing is I want us to be good, but I don't care if the Giants are good. Why do I care? The NFL is better off with the Giants being good, to be honest with you. No, I don't think so. I think it looked like a concussion type of injury, Joe. I mean, who knows? But the way he was reacting, like if it was a leg thing, he wouldn't stay on his bag. I don't think. I mean, who knows? I think it's going to be concussion, and they'll put him in the protocol, and looks like he'll be fine. Certainly not a leg thing. He's jogging off. So he's got to go into the blue tent, and they got to do the neurologicals. I just want them not do as well as the Jets. Well, I don't see what's the difference there. I mean, who cares? If anything, you should want, just like the Mets and the Yankees, you should want the Giants to go to the Super Bowl and play the Jets and for us to beat them. Wouldn't that be cool? Like, just like I always say, why do you hate, like, if you're a Yankee fan, why do you hate the Mets? I would want the Yankees to be good and the Mets to be good and have a Subway Series again. That's fun, you know? Now, am I going to grade Russell Wilson? I guess I guess I'll put a line here and put Russ Wilson. This is the first time I've graded a game with its second quarterback comes in. 3rd down and 9 for the Giants. Bigger concern, of course, is Jaxson Dart, but he looked like he ran off the field. He'll be fine. Now they are not rushing, and that's a terrible pass. So Russ Wilson comes in and throws a terrible pass. And now they got a punt, I think. 4th and 9. My Mets in purgatory be another 7. Yeah, but what went wrong? Why didn't Stevie Cohen fix everything? Dayball is mad on the sideline for I don't know, some reason. Snoopy says, I get jealous. Well, you may want to work on the jealousy thing, Snoopy. Florida Jets fan just got rung up. Yeah, that's what they used to say back in the day. Remember that? He had his bell rung. Remember? Didn't have this concussion stuff. They just said, oh, yeah, he had his bell rung. All of our sport teams in New York suck. The NFL is going to see something with this Dart kid. They will invest in him. Well, I don't know about that. You're going to root for home teams. Yeah, I mean, it would be better. The sports world is better when New York teams are relevant. I mean, I would go all the way back to the Patrick Ewing days of the Knicks. I mean, those were the best days. So a lot of people going into this tent with Jaxson Dart. There seems to be a cast of millions going into the tent. Okay, now can the Eagles respond, though? 27-17, the Giants had to punt. Now they're backed up on their own 12-yard line. They haven't really been able to get Saquon going big time. They got some big early runs, but mostly they've held him back, held him down pretty well here in the second half. And Russ has not been, Jalen has not been passing the ball very great either. So Hurts, 10 points down, third quarter. Eagles were probably heavy favorites in this game, I would suspect, though I didn't check the line. Now it's 2nd down and 10, and now they're running again. I was just about to say, and he loses 3 yards. I was just about to say, this is a game they're going to have to put it on the arm of Jalen Hurts. Dart is out of the tent. Does he have his helmet in his hand? Question is, I don't know. Don't know if he's been cleared to go back in, but he's talking to Dayball. Dayball seems to be very animated and seems to be very into talking to and coaching Dart. and Scattaboo. The other players on the team, who knows? But those two, he loves chatting with them. We know that. So it's the end of the third quarter. Giants by 10, 27-17. Giant fans got to be very happy with this outcome so far tonight. They're a 1-4 squad, but that's not important. What's important is Jaxson motherfucking Dart. That's what's important. Infrared, how did the Giants secondary? Well, here's how the secondary looks. They're sacking the quarterback, Infrared, which is what I said. If you well, I've said this a number of times where it's like the best way to play defense in the back end coverage is to sack the quarterback with your front end. And that's, you think about how all the investments the Giants have made, it's all those defensive linemen. And that's the way you do it, in my opinion. Get a dominant, if you're going to run a 4-3, get a dominant D line. If you're going to run a 3-4, get dominant linebackers. But to run a 4-3 like we are and not invest in defensive linemen, is a big mistake, as I've said, because you're setting yourself up for failure. Well, I mean, yeah, it kind of looked like that, to be honest. He's running around the sideline arguing with like the neurological specialist and demanding that he goes back in. That's what it looked like. I mean, who knows what he was saying, but we'll find out after the game, maybe. But it does look like that, Daboll. And Daboll's a hothead. We know that. He yells at everybody. He runs around yelling and screaming. I'm not sure how great that is, but it did seem like he was upset that maybe Dart couldn't come back in the game, if that's what he was being told. We don't know. But it did look like that. And if that's the case, that's very bad. Very, very bad. I mean, it also kind of speaks to, Daboll seems to just love this Dart kid. And I don't think he loves Daniel Jones or Russell Wilson or Jameson Winston, Jameson, whatever his name is. And you know what I'm saying? But he seems to be in love with Jaxson Dart. Like it's kind of crazy. Going nuts on the sideline. No, but Dart has his helmet now, so he's coming back in. So I don't know what was going on there. Without the sound being on, we don't know what's going on. But Dart has his helmet on now, so he's coming back in, so no problem. But now Hurts has a problem because it's 3rd and 12, backed up in his own end. He has not shown an ability to really win games with his arm. Well, to do much with his arm this game, anyway, let's say that. Now, again, he can't find anybody and has to check it down to Saquon. And Saquon has to try to beat 5, 6, 7 guys to get a first down. That's not a good game plan, Jalen. I mean, obviously the game plan, if you could have one against the Eagles, is shut down their running game. Haha, good luck. But if you can, get out ahead of them by 2 scores or more and make Jalen Hurts beat you with his arm. Yeah, that would be the general game plan. Hard to do, easy to say. And I think it seems, from what we've seen so far, it seems like Hurts and the Eagles are going to have a hard time coming back in this one. Well, it's not chemistry. He's just running around being a hothead. But being a hothead with those 2 guys and just yelling at them and screaming at them and congratulating them and he's just being a hothead. So Dart back in the game. Russ Wilson had 1 pass only. So now that's going to mess up my system here a bit, but that's okay. We'll make do. Yeah. 1 terrible pass on the old ledger. So I'm not even going to probably grade. I will just say Russ Wilson, F-. F-. So Dart back in the game now. They're up 10. If I were them, I would just be conservative and run the ball. That's what I would do. And, yep, they hand it to Scatty Boo. He gets a couple of yards. But you've seen, a couple of things pop out about this Dart situation. They're using him, he's using his legs a lot. You saw in the previous game, he kind of had a minor hamstring thing. Now he's got the concussion protocol, but he clears it, comes back in. This is what you worry about when you run the quarterbacks this much, injuries. So, yeah, it's a good game plan in that it is working. Here's a throw. Ooh, Jesus Christ. He throws so many weird passes. They're saying it's incomplete. I'm going to give him bad on that one. He's now thrown. I mean, I could have marked him for 4 interceptables. This is that. I think he caught it. Did he? But number 8 there could have picked that off. 3rd and 7, so they're not giving it to him. So I'll give it as a bad pass because one it almost picked off and then it was incomplete. But he throws a lot of risky passes right now. And that's batted at the line. So 4th down. Now, can Jalen Hurts, win a game with his arm? That's really the question here. He was going to throw to another guy that was covered. I don't know. Dart's playing well, but I'm still not 100% sold on him. But, this is his 3rd game as a rookie. I would say for a rookie in his 3rd or 4th game, whatever this is for him, he looks pretty good. Put it that way. And again, I think this should be our model for next year. Whatever quarterback we take in the 1st round, looks like that's what we're going to do. This should be the model right here. Fields is going to be on the team. Just sign another veteran like Marcus Mariota or something like that. Some grizzled veteran, no problem. And then however long it takes for the rookie, it takes. No pressure. No pressure. Yeah, there's a chance you take. I mean, the line's looking pretty good, although he's escaping out a lot. So they're running him a lot. That's the other problem. I mean, it's not a problem. It's just a risky thing because he can get injured. Bialy says, I'm sick of rookie quarterbacks. Well, that's why you signed the 2 veterans. The idea is that one of the veterans, either Fields or Mariota or whoever we sign, gets the job, probably, almost certainly, out of training camp. And we do the Giants plan. And then as soon as the rookie quarterback's ready, whenever that is, it could be the next year. Dart apparently was very advanced, according to people who cover the Giants. But whatever guy we take maybe isn't, and maybe it takes a year, just like Mahomes did or whatever, But however long it is, he's just on his own pace, and whenever he's ready, and that's it. I mean, there's no great veterans out there, Bialy. Who do you want to sign? I mean, Marcus Mariota is good for a backup, but you want Marcus Mariota starting for this team? Well, having an attitude like this, Infrared, is not good. It's whenever he's ready. That's the point. You don't go in and predetermine anything. You say, when the kid is ready, then he goes. You don't put him in before he's ready, and you don't put him in after he's ready. Whenever he's ready, he goes. We have no idea, Brady Cook. We can't count on Brady Cook for anything, Bialy. He's nothing right now. He's on the practice squad. So he'll come into camp. He'll play. He'll be our 4th guy, probably, if this plan of mine is right, but we'll see what the Jets actually do. And he'll come in and he'll show what he can do. We don't know. We have no evidence right now. We have nothing. He's on the practice squad. That's all we know. We have no idea what he could develop into. He's good enough to be on the P squad. All right, there's a nice routine throw to Devontae Smith. But they really need, I mean, they're only down 10. There's 12:37, so they have plenty of time, but they kind of need to get their act together. They have not been able to establish Barkley running in this second half whatsoever. The first half, they did a better job, mostly running. Um, but they only put up 17 points. So now can Hurts bring him back? Here's a deep pass on the left-hand side. That's a bad pass. Flag on the play. But Hurts missed a wide open guy very deep that basically should have been a touchdown, and he totally missed him. That's no good. Overthrew him. If you're going to miss a guy like that, you want to underthrow him. If anything, now they're calling pass interference on a Debo. Nope, that's not pass interference. Terrible call. No, I don't think that is. You're allowed to have a hand. You're allowed to have a hand on him as long as you don't reroute. These officials are stupid. I hate these calls, man. Let them play football, for God's sakes. He had his hand there, but he didn't pull him. He didn't reroute him. It had no effect on the play. I mean, these guys, they got to let them play. All right, now another routine to Goddard. 15 routine passes for Jalen. I don't know what you're talking about, infrared. I think we're going to the draft for the QB this time. I mean, there's only so many ways you can do it. You want to trade for a guy, you want to sign a guy, draft a guy. That's all. It's the only ways you can find them. All right, now the Eagles are in field goal range already. Flags on this play. I mean, how do you grade this play? The guy falls down. And I have to grade it as a bad pass because it wasn't close to the receiver, but the receiver fell down. Well, and right as he was falling down, and Hurts was throwing it. So the grading system, has some quirks to it. It's not perfect. The Giants have a claim there. Brown did push off, it looked like. I was talking about Mendoza, the Fern Dog. It's definitely in the top tier, and Hurts throws a pick. Oh, my goodness. And Cordell Flott is going to take it all the way down. Jesus. See, the Jalen Hurts detractors are going to look at this game and say, this is why he's not good enough. I bet you there's even going to be some Eagles fans going, we need to get rid of Jalen Hurts. This was bad. I mean, that's just a terrible pass. Doesn't see the coverage. Flott doesn't have to worry about getting beat deep because it's in the red zone. Of course he's going to drive on it. What else is he going to do? It's just an out route drive on it. Yeah. Good job by Flott. Terrible job by Hurts. Not sure what he's looking at here. Took it right away. Now the Jets, of course, would have dropped that. Okay, Dart back on the field. Let's see. Doing zone reads. Just hand the ball off, for God's sake. Why are you allowing the quarterback to take hits like this? Just give the ball to the frickin'. Just call running plays, Daboll. Or Kafka, whoever the hell's calling plays. Like, you're up 10. Just let the running backs run. No. I wouldn't say that, Florida. Again, look at their roster, look at our roster, look at the game plan, look at the circumstances. It's not about their record. They're 1-4 because of Russell Wilson and because Dart turned the ball over the last game. But again, they had a game plan with the quarterback maximizing his skill set, and they have a ferocious front. We don't have any of that. So it's not about they're 1-4 and we're 0-5. That you got to look a little deeper than that, Florida. A man can dream. Well, you can dream, sure, but it's probably going to turn out to be a nightmare, buddy. Again, you can't run a 4-3 without a lot of defensive linemen who are really good. That's just stupid. Now, if JJ comes back, that'll help. They're running a zone read again. Why are you doing this? They want to. Dable wants to get Dart killed. I don't understand this. You're up by 10. Just hand the fucking ball off to your running backs. Why are you having him run zone read now? He just came out of concussion protocol. I don't get this. I don't get it at all. Like, you don't have running backs. Tyrone Tracy can't run the ball 3 yards. You have Scattaboo. You have Tracy. Give them the ball. Why? I don't understand this at all. So the game plan had been good up until this friggin' point. And you did all that. So you got your quarterback hit massively for 2 yards. Is it really worth it? Your running backs couldn't run 2 yards. Now, what do I grade this pass as? Incomplete, but it was a decent pass. Can we see a replay? Can I get a replay? Flag on the play. Comes in late after a bunch of complaining. And they call pass interference. Probably a terrible call. Again, but they're attacking Ringo. But pressure in his face. He throws the ball. Let's see. That's not pass interference. Again, refs ruining the game. Yeah, he's holding his arm. I'm actually going to give him a solid throw on this. He's dropping it in the bucket here. So Dart's going to grade out pretty well, even with all those weird throws he had. But I like how he responds to pressure also. So I don't know. The arrow's trending up for Dart, I'd say. But all these ticky-tack DPIs, I don't like them, to be honest. Skiddly-doo, Scattaboo. Scattaboo may score the most touchdowns in NFL history with the least amount of yardage. Colin Abraham's here already talking about the draft. Thinks he knows what's going on before the draft even arrives. Look like offsides, if anything. I mean, they're calling these ticky tack. I mean, that one he had his arm a little bit. Ringo. They're picking on Ringo, by the way. I think all these teams are going to pick on him. So the Giants are pretty much in control here. They're not gonna blow this, I don't think. But the Eagles had their chances. You can't throw a pick down in the red zone. That's just terrible quarterbacking. Yeah, there's too much information we need to know before draft day, for sure. Whether we know we should trade the pick, that's for sure. Yeah. But Harlan, you're a Commanders fan, right? I thought you said you were a Commanders fan. The Commies, what formerly was the Redskins. The former Redskins. John Michael Schmitz ruled out with a concussion. So even with their offensive linemen going off, they did a decent enough job protecting. But I do think that there are flaws on this Eagles team that are being exploited now. So we'll have to see. I used to be a Redskin fan. Well, then how come you're not a Redskin fan anymore? Redskin/Commander fan. You can't just give up your fandom. I mean, I guess you can. You can do whatever you want, but most people stick with their teams. That they pick when they're kids, for better or worse. I don't know. Dable loves that Jaxson Dart kid, man. I think he loves him like a son. So there's hope in Giantsville, that's for sure. There's certainly revived hope in Giantsville. Beating a rival at MetLife. This guy can't even catch the kickoff. What is going on? The Eagles are looking like the Jets. That's A.J. Dillon. They're using him on kickoffs. What is happening with these Eagles? What is going on? It could be a down year for the Eagles, maybe. Well, they'll be 4-2 after this game. I mean, it's not sky is falling yet, but they certainly have not looked good in this game at all. The Giants just kind of pushed them around. The way the Redskin ownership fired head coach Allen. Yeah, but so what? I mean, then you just became a Jet fan? That's kind of a weird thing to do. Dable loves Dart. You can see that. But yeah, why risk his help with those? Yeah, I don't understand. That's the one thing. I mean, I liked his game plan all the way through, except for that. Another routine throw for Hurts. I mean, look at Hurts. All he does is routine throws. I mean, I have him for 2 great throws, 2 solid, 16 routine, 6 bad, 1 interceptable, 1 throwaway. And he's missed. I mean, some of these bad throws he's missed were really bad. He had one guy wide open for a touchdown. Couldn't hit him. So, I don't know. Maybe it's just a bad game for Hurts, but that's incomplete. Yeah, this is not Jalen Hurts' finest game. Let's put it that way. The Eagles falling apart. Yeah. Adirondack Flying Guys here. AFG. Only 2 to what? Yeah, one of the annoying things is going to be somebody like Connor Hughes, by the way. So Hughes now covers the Giants and the Jets, and he's going to give effusive praise to Jaxson Dart. You're going to have to deal with Connor Hughes going on and on and on and on about Jaxson Dart. The moxie, the leadership, unbelievable for a rookie. You're going to have to deal with that. Colin says, became a Jet fan after I moved back to New York, and Jets decided to hire some people that showcased they were serious about winning. All right, so you just switched your allegiance from the Redskins to the Jets. It's kind of strange. I think you're secretly a Commanders fan. Underneath it all. 4th and 4, they're going for it deep in their own territory, and they get a first down. Another routine throw for Fields. For Hurts, he just can't throw deep. I mean, can he? I mean, sometimes he does, but I mean, the Eagles were using A.J. Dillon to return kicks. A.J. Dillon. I don't think he ever did that in Green Bay. There's another routine throw. Yeah, well, this is what you're telling yourself, Harlan, but I think you're lying to yourself. I think you're lying to yourself deep down. Because when you're a kid and you pick a team, that's your team, man. We were talking about this earlier. Hertz now tries a deep one. All right. Wide open. I'll give him a. Yeah, you got to give him a great on that one because of how far it is. He's at the 35, throws it to the. Yeah, look at that. Oh, I probably shouldn't have left him so wide open. But man, now here's another one routine. Drops it off. Maybe a fumble. What happened to Barkley? Is Barkley out of this game? They're saying it is a fumble. Boy, A.J. Dillon, what happened to his career? He's dropping kickoffs. He's fumble-ing. What is he doing? Is he down? He is not down. Boy, I think the Eagle fans should really just chalk this up to just one of those games. They just did nothing right. So now you were a Viking fan and a Redskin fan and a Jet fan. That's not how it works, Harlan. I mean, you could you could be whatever kind of fan you want, but for almost 100% of the people, they just pick a team when they're a kid, and that's the team, good or bad, the rest of their life. You can't be a Viking fan. I mean, you can be, but it's highly unusual to be a Viking fan, then a Redskin fan, then claim to be a Jet fan. Uh, I'm calling you out. I don't believe it. I think deep down inside, you're a Redskin fan. That's what I think. You got a Redskin thing going on. I think it's the Redskins, the Commanders, bandwagon fan. That's what they call them. Yeah, that's why. I mean, certainly not someone who's a diehard Jet fan. We know that. I like the Vikings under Bud Grant. So you just go from team to team, basically who the head coach is. I like Bud Grant. I like George Allen. I like Bill Parcells. Now I'm going to like them. I mean, maybe you like Brian Daboll now, and you be a Giants fan. I mean, I like Dan Quinn now. I'm a Commanders fan. I like Kevin O'Connell. I'm a Viking fan now. I like Sean McVay. Let's go Rams. Like what? What? I mean, you do you, bud, but it's just a little unusual, I would say. It's a little unusual. You could just say you're an NFL fan. I like all the NFL teams. I don't have any rooting interest. Ah, old timers. Old timers. Yeah. Very flaky. Infrared. We were so poor growing up in Newark, we didn't have a TV in our apartment. I became a Jet fan in '89 visiting my classmate's house. My classmate's dad was a Jet. I watched Jet games since then. Yeah, that's how it normally works. Just some random event. You know, I heard about Wesley Walker. You went over to your buddy's house. The Giants feeling good about themselves now. Now, please hand the ball to the running back. You're up by 17 points in the fourth quarter. Thank you. And Scattaboo goes and gets 15 yards finally after the defense is softened up. Just keep handing it to the running backs. Don't risk your quarterback's health because you want to run a zone read like an idiot. Yeah, so this is not Jalen Hurts' finest hour. This is certainly not Vic Fangio's finest hour. There'll be a lot of gnashing of teeth in Philly for this one. That's for sure. I would rather the Giants be good than the Eagles. Just tell you that. Joe says, good for the G-men. Yeah. Their plan is working. Plan is working. Their plan is working, and hopefully the Jets are smart and they figure out a good plan for next year and don't screw it up. But like I said, the next big thing for the Jets is November 4th. That's the next big date. Boy, you look at A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, they got to be going, this Hurts guy, I don't know about him. But he did win a Super Bowl. I mean, what are you going to do? Be upset? So the next big day for the Jets is really November the 4th. All right, let's plug some of these grades in now. I mean, they're not going to throw another pass, I don't think. So let's plug some of these grades in. Jaxson Dart, 2 great passes, 5 solids, 5, 10, 11, routine, 6 bad, 1 interceptable, 1 batted. So he grades out at C+. So Dart gets a C+. Not too shabby. Hurts. Elite. 3 great. 2 solid. 5, 10, 15, 20 routine. 7 bads. 1 interceptable, which was intercepted. No batted, 1 throwaway. .697. Man. You look at that's also a C+. I don't know. Hurts had a much worse game, but he hit tons of routine passes. He didn't have any interceptables. So Hurts was probably better than we thought. Jackson was worse than we thought. 1.8. Jackson was better, but they both grade out as a C+ because the score is in the range. No, that's about right. Actually. Oh, here's another pass. Routine. Well, Scataboo is just a different category of dude. I mean, when you get a Scataboo, it's he brings the whole emotional the whole thing, his whole package that he does, as Alexio would say. The Scataboo's got a package in terms of just aura, whatever you want to call it, toughness, leadership. He does the backflips, he does all this stuff. So I do think that was a key acquisition. Not that he's in the same league as Saquon, but he just brings a different element to your team. It brings something that nobody else really has that I've seen. It's different. And now the defense is totally tired and gassed, and they're just giving up all these runs now. Adirondack says, I grew up in central New York and thought I had to be a New York sports team fan. Yankees, Knicks, Islanders, and Jets. Well, you don't have to be. I mean, look at Harlan. He's a fan of any team pretty much that has a coach he likes. You can do whatever you want in this world. Yeah, you can do whatever you want. You can do whatever you want. So the Giants now are going to run out the clock. Tracy, I think, or whoever that is. So this is a pretty thorough beatdown. Dart's going to wind up 117 for 25, 195 and a TD, plus a bunch of running yards. Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown look pretty sad on the sidelines. You wonder if there's going to be any drama from the receivers after this one. You got to wonder, is this the beginning of the turnaround of the Giants? Are we witnessing the beginning of the turnaround? They'll be 2-4 after this ball game. Clock keeps ticking. Philly fans are going to be pretty upset. 2 losses in a row. They're not used to that. They're not used to that. They thought they were going to come into MetLife Stadium and have Saquon run all over the Giants. It was looking good in the first half in terms of that part of it, but the Giants had other plans. The Giants had other plans, tell you that much. So Scattaboo got called for taunting for some reason. And again, they're just risking their quarterback's health for no reason. But they picked up the first down, so that's good. So 2-minute warning. I think that'll be the final grades for these quarterbacks. Jaxson Dart 1.808. That equates to a C plus, sort of like a high C plus. Jalen Hurts 1.697. That's sort of like a below, almost a C, but just barely made it into the C plus category. So there you go. There's the grading system. And it's just for passes. It doesn't include all the running and all the leadership and all the other things that a quarterback does. But, the NFC East would be a lot better if the Giants are good and and the Cowboys are good. So interestingly, Ari Mayrov, who a lot of times is a mouthpiece for the league, said if the Eagles want the tush push to stay in the game, running it 4 straight times in front of a primetime audience isn't going to help. That's not an opinion, just facts of the matter. There's no way anyone in the league office enjoyed watching that. So that is a very interesting tweet. And I think that's right. I think the league office hates that play. The officials don't like it. The officials don't rule it properly. They're usually offsides and false starting on the play, and it's hard to officiate. The league wants it out. It doesn't look good on television. The league wants it out of here, and I think next year they're going to get it because the Jets will probably change their vote. I have no idea why Woody Johnson voted for it, and then the Jets didn't run one tush push the whole year. Well, 5 games worth. Maybe we'll be big tush pushers on Sunday. Who knows? But congratulations to the Giants. You beat a division foe. You played a good game. Jalen Hurts, you look like crap, I'm sorry to say. And maybe AJ Brown and Devontae Smith will make formal trade requests after the game. Perhaps that will be happening, and perhaps we can look at that. But Giants players and Giants fans very happy tonight. 34-17. The game is over. So I will say, please give this video a thumbs up if you haven't already. Please consider subscribing if you haven't already. And if you'd like to join the Jets unpaid scouting department and get access to exclusive items and videos and things that are innumerable, exclusive to members only, please consider joining by clicking the join button. We have a price for every budget, $2 a month, $5 a month, $10 a month, whatever budget you've got. You can enjoy the membership privileges that come from being a Frankie channel member. So please consider it. Otherwise, I will see you guys back on live on Sunday. No coffee with Frankie because the Jets will be playing at 9:30 a.m. in London, and we will be live on the Green Bean channel with the Watchalong like we always are on Sundays. So thanks for joining. Appreciate it, and I'll see you next time.